Welcome to Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullin, and today with my two very special guests, Adrien and Joe, we'll be talking about our top 10 1980s movies. So without further ado, let me bring on our guests. How's it going, guys?
Harrison!
It's going well, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super excited for today's chat, right?
100%.
Will it be as much of a tonal shift as last time? We shall see. That is to be determined.
Let me.
Yes.
I'm putting the. I'm posting it on my story, Harrison.
Awesome.
And we are live. Perfect. Awesome. Excited.
Yeah. Is there anything new with you guys?
Yes, the tournament.
Yes, the tournament.
Yes, the tournament.
The finale.
I'm
I'm
such
so
anticipation of that. I'm in such anticipation of what the result is going to be.
Wait, so we're all on the same team, I think, right?
I think so.
Harrison, your passion, right?
Yeah.
I'm passionate for Team M and Team Passion.
No, we're all passion.
Yeah.
I think so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead and introduce it a little bit so that people in the chat know what it is.
For sure. So on my account, Tarana Cinema, I've been doing a tournament from all the films from 1914 to 1939, and we've been going at it for about a month and a half. There was over 32 films, I think there was total, and now this is the final round. So everyone has been eliminated except for two films. M from Fritz Lang, and The Passion of Joan of Arc by Carl Theodor Dreyer. So this is it's been going on for 22 hours. We're about 2 more hours to vote, and we are in. I'm just gonna look at the score. Let's see. We are at 50-50. My God.
Oh my God.
There's only two vote difference. 50%.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's insane.
Yeah. So there's only 3 more hours to vote. So, if you don't know better, vote Joan of Arc.
Yes.
All right.
I just mentioned this to you, Adrien, but I watched it last night, or maybe I watched it and I was actually showing it to my mom because she was like, "Why do you love this movie so much?" And I was like, "I'll show you," and she freaking loved it, and she never watches silent films. So
that's amazing. Did you watch the Criterion version?
Yeah, I actually watched the 20 frames per second version. I've only seen it at 24 frames per second. And I feel like you could feel more of, even though it's only over 80 minutes, you could kind of feel the length of the 20 frames per second version. So I think I might prefer the 24 frames. But I still give major props to the 20 frame version because you see more of a slower progression with Falconetti's performance. And that's great.
And you have the score in that, right? Because I know a lot of people saw it without the score.
I saw it with the score. Yes.
With the score.
It was by, I think.
I don't know. Harrison, did you watch? Did you watched it as well, right? Of course.
A long, long time ago. Yeah.
And you liked it?
I liked it more than M.
The piano score by Mai Yanshida. I hope I'm saying that
more
right.
than M. No, I'm very happy with the way the tournament turned out, to be honest. The way that it wasn't a popularity contest. It didn't end up being Wizard of Oz versus Gone with the Wind, which is what I was expecting before the tournament started. That everybody would flock to.
Even though The Wizard of Oz is a much better movie,
for sure. But as a no, Wizard of Oz is a monster. One of my favorite films of all time. I'm just saying. In terms of popularity, it's the two most popular films on the brackets, and
I was
Hollywood
saying
classics.
Comparison to Gone, and I'm just saying in comparison to Gone with the Wind, The Wizard of Oz is a much better movie. Fight me on
I
this.
agree. I 100% agree. 100% agree. I'm just saying in terms of popularity, I was sure that people would flock to that. Gone with the Wind got eliminated round 16. Right? It didn't even get to the quarterfinals. And then Wizard of Oz got eliminated yesterday in 4th position, which, cool, fine. I'm fine with it. I would have, put it above Metropolis myself. But super cool. But I'm very glad that, I mean, no American movies have made it in the top 3, which is insane. I have most
Yeah.
American followers, and it's not a diss to American films because they're great. I'm just saying it's pretty interesting that European films have made the cut of the podium compared to other classics that you would expect to be there. So that was pretty cool. So I'm very happy how that turned out. So we'll see who the winner is, but
Yeah. We're excited for that.
Yep, for sure. 100%. All right, guys.
All right. So let's get started. But before we do that, we got a couple chats here from Samuel. This is his top 10 80s movies. Got, let's see, Henry V2, Babbitt's Beast, Airplane, classic. Rambo First Blood, heck yeah. The Dark Crystal, yes. Jim Henson, love that one. Passage to India, Ran, Jean de Flore. Let's see, I'm butchering these French names.
No, go ahead.
Manon de la Source.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was great. Well done.
Thank you. The Dead and Willow. I know Spanish, so I could do those accents.
There you go.
There you go.
I am going to ask Samuel Stevens, if you're still here, how did you watch Jean de Florette and Manon de la Source? Because those are like, and one, are you French? And two, if you're not, then how did you watch that? Because I don't believe it's on Criterion nor any streaming service. So I would love to know how you did. Incredible films, but so niche to France, and to the culture of France, the country culture of France, right? It's not even like the cities; it's in the country. It happens in the countryside. So I would love to know that. But fantastic list. My God, there's so much variety in this.
All right. We got The Roman 6. Best film of the 80s, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I've watched like the first like Star Wars movie like many times, but it's been a long time since I've seen the original sequels. So but they're definitely like, I need to rewatch. Like, I need to do a marathon of all of them so that I can finally rewatch the sequels after years. So
true.
Yeah. All right. And the Movie Geek says hello. Hello, Movie Geek.
Hello.
I think that's Bernard, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into our list. And I believe, yes, Adrien will be first.
Really? Okay.
Yep. Here we go. Number 10. Speaking of Return of the Jedi.
So yeah, not best film of the 80s, but very close. I don't have that courage to put it as number 1. I hope I'll find that courage one day. Well, I mean, yeah, it's it gets a lot of shit. People call out on it a lot, and they call out its flaws, which it has some.
But Ewoks.
But the thing is,
Harrison has a vendetta against this movie.
Yes, no.
Why, Colin? Did you have a problem with a
lot of people have a problem with the Ewoks.
The cute furry teddy bears? No, like here's the thing. Like, Ewoks, one, are cute, right? And two, are an essential part to the child, to the imaginative, child mind of the ethos of the film, right? Of the saga in itself, right? It's a film made for kids, and it brings in that innocence that we were sorely lacking in Empire Strikes Back, which doesn't mean each did its job perfectly, but Return of the Jedi brought that back, brought that child mind to the table. And I actually love that, and I actually love especially that moment when the two Ewoks, one of them died, right? And they're in the middle, right? One of them died, and the other one tries to wake him up because he doesn't understand the concept. The moments like that are incredibly powerful in this film. And so no, I love the Ewoks. It's kind of like the last Mad Max, now the fourth one, the third one, that everybody hates as well for the same reason, because there's all the kids. I think it's called Thunderdome.
Yeah, Beyond Thunderdome.
Beyond Thunderdome. It's the same thing. I love Beyond Thunderdome. and people shit on it because of that. It's very 80s to add these sequences of kids, right? And so you have that in, well, obviously the Goonies, that's the entire film, but like but Beyond Thunderdome and then Return of the Jedi brings that to another level. And so I love that. But most importantly, I think it's one of the most emotional conclusion to any saga. The duel of father and son at the end is immaculate, immaculate in emotions. It's the music, but everything is perfect. The Yoda, the death of Yoda is incredible. The Jabba the Hutt sequence is incredible. There are so many moments in this film that are so spectacular that, yeah, sure, okay, it's a second Death Star. Could have done something else. Yeah, that's true. Ben Kenobi telling Luke about Leia, being his sister is a little bit, forced in that moment, but still.
No pun intended.
That's right. No pun intended. I didn't even realize. Yeah, I think that it's an incredible film and it deserves much more praise than it's given.
Yeah, like I remember, like even though I haven't seen the this film in a while, I remember that as a kid, this was actually my favorite Star Wars film, and I hear that sort of response like a lot. Like I think it may have been my brother's favorite as well. Like I think this may have been our favorite, like when we've like first watched the Star Wars movies. So it's definitely one that I've been meaning to watch again because of like how much I loved it like back then, and probably
100%.
still will. So, and I do own
the practical in this. The practical in that film is better than in the other Star Wars films.
The practical effects.
The practical effects, the models, right? That they made, the Jabba the Hutt creature, the creature work in this is.
Well said. Looks like we actually got an answer from Samuel about your question earlier.
Yeah, I saw that. I got a 92 film DVD of Jean Manon from MGM. My God. Old family favorites. Also, I need to say The Mission was my 11. Wow. Incredible. From MGM. That's incredible. Samuel,
crazy.
did you by chance know Marcel Pagnol? And have you seen his films? The Marseille trilogy. And the my favorite is The Baker's Wife, which is La Femme du Boulanger in French. Let me know.
All right. One more comment here. We got Movie Geeks. So his number 10's Indiana Jones Last Crusade. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Heck yeah, John Hughes. Ordinary People. Spaceballs. Empire Strikes Back. Ran. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Back to the Future. The Thing, and E.T.
Not surprised. I think that's Bernard's favorite movie.
It's The Last Crusade was my favorite Indiana. It might still be my favorite Indiana Jones. I don't know. That's the thing I say with the two Indiana Jones films. There's the Raiders of the Lost Ark is a better piece of art, right? As a piece of art, it's perfect. And Raiders Last Crusade has the better story.
For sure. All right. So we'll move on to Joe's number 10.
Okay, so this one is so I briefly mentioned Ralph Bakshi in the previous live stream when I was talking about adult animation, and I have seen 4 of his films, and of the ones that I have seen, this is probably my favorite and like his best film. And like I feel like with Ralph Bakshi's films, like they're very much like some people would absolutely love them, but some would like think, this really isn't my thing. It's kind of dated, which I can understand both. I would say I'm somewhere in the middle, but like I would argue that like I'm really glad that this was the first of his films that I would see, and I would recommend that this is the first film that if anyone wants to get into Ralph Bakshi's films, they should probably see this one first. And this one is really interesting. Like it has a really killer soundtrack, and it also like it surprised me that it had a really captivating story about generations. Like it starts off I believe like Ralph Bakshi, like he like it starts off with like I'm blanking out on the word, but this guy's family being having forced to like leave their home because of
Eviction?
Oppressiveness for them being oppressed, for them being Jewish, and then it then shows the next generation of this guy fighting in World War II, and then the next one of this guy getting like shuffled in the wrong life because of the drug era in the 70s, and then the next generation that possibly shows like this hope for like, you know, not falling under like these tragic circumstances. And it's something that I wish maybe could be like discussed, or like it's something that I haven't seen executed that much in film or animation, and I think it's a really interesting film. So I would definitely say that definitely if you want to get into Ralph Bakshi's films, this is the first one that I would recommend, because it's very much like the most appealing of his movies, because if you know him, you know that his movies are very, very touchy. Let's just put it that way.
Very wacky.
Yeah, let's just put it that way. So
Wow.
but this, yeah, like there's definitely moments where you can see, oh yeah, there's Ralph Bakshi's style, but I feel like this is one that's definitely like it has the most broad appeal out of his movies.
That's funny. I just I put it in the watch list, and it turns out that Ralph Bakshi made the first Lord of the Rings cartoon.
Yes, he made
Yes, he did.
the Lord of the Rings from the 70s. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Which I really want to see that, even though people say that it's like not inferior.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
Well, I really want to see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so, especially since John Hurt voices Aragorn in that movie, and I am an absolute John Hurt stan, and you will see that later in the list. But yeah, that's
Hurt is phenomenal.
All right. So we'll move on to my number 10. So mine is Batman 1989. I love this movie. Have you guys seen it?
I have seen it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I love Michael Keaton as Batman and Jack Nicholson as the Joker. I think they're a great duo and rivalry against each other. And it was funny, when that new Batman movie came out this year, I didn't like it very much. And so, because it was kind of depressing, you know, I like happier movies, I guess. And I put this one on afterward. I was like, no, this is a better movie, the 1989 one. So the Batman fans, sorry, I have to go with this one, the classic.
I haven't, that when I was a kid, that was one of my favorites, but I haven't seen it since. I love the Batman, but I don't know how it compares. But this takes itself way less seriously. It's a less serious
it's almost cartoony in some parts.
Cartoonish. It's
especially
Tim Burton.
if you have Jack Nicholson playing the Joker.
Jack Nicholson and Tim Burton,
which,
at
by
the
the way,
helm.
is like perfect casting. Oh my goodness.
Even the returns, Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman.
Danny DeVito is the Penguin.
Danny DeVito as the Penguin is. Yeah.
And another thing I like about this movie is they try to tap into the more gritty, like 1940s style of the old comics. Because, you know, before this, we just had the Batman TV show, which is super campy, really silly. This has some elements of that, but I like that they try to bring in the more serious tone from the old comics and just from the 40s in general.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like we got another comment here from Samuel.
I know Penn is a novelist, filmmaker, and the styles are familiar, but I don't know much. Okay. Clubber is one film in the Criterion. Oh, that's interesting. So, no. Okay, so you know of Pagnol, but you've never seen them. And I guess maybe your parents have. That's really interesting. Claude Berry is one film in the Criterion. Oh, he does. Okay, I didn't know Claude Berry. Okay, that's interesting as well. Really cool. Awesome. Learning new things.
All right. So we'll move on to Adrien's number 9.
Have you all seen this?
I haven't seen Yes, but everybody tells me that I need to.
So. But you've heard about it, right?
Definitely.
Scullin as well?
I have not seen it. I have it on VHS though.
But you've heard about it is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I only saw this a couple months ago, to be honest. No, more than that actually. It was 6 months ago. But very recently, and I've always like pushed it back because of the time, the runtime. It's a 3-hour movie. But it truly is one of those experiences, right? One of those pure operatic experiences. It's a true study of genius, what it is to be a genius. How does a genius work? Like it's a biopic from the it's about Mozart, of course, but it's a biopic from the point of view of Salieri, right? Who is not a genius, who is really, really good at what he does, an incredibly talented man. But what is the difference between an incredibly talented man and a genius? And that's the question that's the premise and the question that the film puts forward. And for 3 hours, we are delving into the mind of a regular man trying to understand the mind of a genius. It's phenomenal. And I don't even want to talk about the performances because it's one of those perfect films where you don't know how that magic happened all at the same time, right? Costumes, performances, script, music, everything hand in hand together. Probably the best biopic of all time, or at least one of, with Bird and Steve Jobs, probably. So yeah.
Let's get to the comments. It's like, I need to see Amadeus.
Wait 1 second. Oh shit. Okay. I thought that I was reading a comment and then I was like, fuck, did I forget that from my list? But no, I have it. Okay.
All right. We got Hugo, best film of the 80s, Once Upon a Time in America.
Fuck yeah.
And then we got a list here from Evan Waylands, number 10, Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors, RoboCop, nice, love RoboCop.
Wait, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
Oh,
right?
I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Yeah, wow, that's specific. RoboCop,
Ran, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Thing, Full Metal Jacket, Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Evan, you have good taste. I trust you.
Aliens, Paris, Texas, and then
that's awesome to put Paris, Texas. Oh, that is quite a statement to put Paris, Texas as number 2 and Evil Dead 2 as number 1. That's
honestly, I am just glad that
respect that
someone gave love to Nausicaa.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Well, that's a great list here. Anything else you want to add to Amadeus, Adrien?
No, it's incredible. Go see it.
All right. I'll get my VCR up and running so I can watch it.
That's right. Get your VCR. That's right. You have it in VHS. That's good. That will come in handy.
Yeah. I can't remember if it's the regular director's
vinyl as well, just in case.
Right, exactly. All right. Move on to Joe's number 9.
Okay, people are gonna really hate me for including this on the list.
No, it's great.
But exactly. I legitimately found this to be a really impactful story and telling of Gandhi's life. And before I saw this movie, I definitely knew who Gandhi was, but I feel like after watching this, you really get the understanding of how stubborn he was, but also the fact that he was able to change the landscape of India. And I've heard that a lot of people thought that if he wasn't assassinated, that his next goal would have been world peace or something like that. Or honestly, considering how stubborn he was, and I wouldn't deny that he would try and do that. And the fact that I can imagine, Gandhi would probably do that is a testament to how convincing this movie is. And I think what really sells it is Ben Kingsley's performance as Gandhi. Probably a masterclass in performance, and might be one of my favorite performances, depending on what it is. But it's a really interesting story, actually, with his sort of casting process in the movie, because the director Richard Attenborough, they originally had a multitude of non-Indian actors in mind. Big shock, including John Hurt, interestingly enough, which is really like, okay. But then it was Richard Attenborough's son who saw this play of Hamlet. He saw like a play of Hamlet where Ben Kingsley was Hamlet, and he was like, "Dad, I think I found the person to play Gandhi." And then like Richard Attenborough was like, "No, man, like we need to find like a big name or something." And then his son was like, "Hey, he's half Indian. Okay, bring him over here. Let's get him in on." And so I'm pretty sure there's even a story that like John Hurt heard of Ben Kingsley or saw him somewhere or something, and then told Richard Attenborough, "Man, if you don't cast that man as Gandhi, you are doing yourself. You're making a mistake." And it kind of panned out.
It's perfect casting.
Yeah, absolutely, and pretty much was the Kickstarter of like his very longevitous career, and it's probably like it might be his like most important role, I debate, you know. Like it's definitely like a really significant role in his career, to put it lightly. But yeah, I think it's a great movie, and I think it gets a little too much hate, honestly. And I think honestly that's because like it beat out
hate.
Oscars. Well, I hear like a lot of people like Bernardo, he's on this. He hates. Well, he hasn't. I don't think he's seen Gandhi, but like he doesn't like the fact that it won Best Picture over E.T., and that's mostly the kind of.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah, that's sort of what it is. Like,
wait, E.T. was nominated as Best Picture?
It was. It's hard to believe that it was nominated for Best Picture, especially considering nowadays. Like, if E.T. was released today, there's no way in hell that it would be nominated for Best Picture.
Never,
not at all.
Never. But wow, I didn't know it was nominated. You know, I kind of had that grudge. I still have it actually against Annie Hall. You know, who that won Best Picture over Star Wars: A New Hope. I mean, there's no like, and again, like I saw it, like I like always pushed Annie Hall back. Everybody was saying how great it is, and I was sure it was great, but I like held a grudge because, you know, it should have never won. No one should have won the award over A New Hope. And then I watched it, and I was kind of like, it's fine. Like it's okay. Like there's some good stuff in this, but I wasn't enamored. So it made me hate it even more.
Or sort of like I personally have a vendetta against the Oscars for like just because they gave like Encanto Best Animated Feature over Lee or Mitchell versus the Machines. Like both of those movies are better in my opinion, and
100% without a doubt. It's not even close. One is not even a full movie. One is like a 2-act film. Literally, like the third act is botched. It's not a full film.
But enough of the Encanto hate, because that's not in the 80s. But you know, whatever.
Right.
But that was just a side tangent. Just because I'm just going to use this moment to say that Flea is a fantastic movie, and everybody should watch it because it's so good. Anyways, moving back onto the 80s. So yeah.
All right, let's get to the chat. So Evan, he could watch Evil Dead 2. Yeah, Evil Dead 2. My goodness. Anytime, any place. Maybe not Paris, Texas.
Oh, really? Not Paris, Texas. You don't put on Paris, Texas with your breakfast. Interesting.
You don't say.
Interesting.
Okay. Samuel says Gandhi's an amazing film. Then he also says, can't believe Amadeus wasn't on my list. Used to be my favorite film earlier on. Still really love it.
Oh, that ending sequence of Amadeus is unthinkable. Unthinkable. Anyway.
All right. We'll move on to my number 9, Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Obviously everyone here's seen it. I've seen this movie so many times I can't even count. But what I love about it is the connection between Marty and his dad, and how he kind of helps improve that. And then also, music's really good, and just the whole concept of, what would you do if you went to high school with your parents? It'd be kind of strange, right? But I don't know. It's a great film. Love this poster. Drew Struzan, one of the best illustrators there's ever been. He actually shows up a lot on this because he did a lot of 80s movie posters. But yeah, I don't know what else to add, but this is a fantastic movie.
It's funny. I believe there's only 5 films that are, how do I like undebatable, unquestionable great films, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no debate about it. And usually it's a Spielberg Lucas combo, but Zemeckis also comes into play with this. I always say there are 5 films that are great, and that's it. Like there's no like debate really about it. So there's Raiders of the Lost Ark, there's E.T., there's Star Wars, there's Jurassic Park, and then there's Jaws. And then in bonus that you could add into that is Back to the Future. And I feel like those are 6 films that you don't really debate it. You can't really say, oh no, Back to the Future is not a good film. It makes no sense. In conversation. I wouldn't be able to debate it. It would make no sense to me. So yeah, Back to the Future.
Yeah. And hopefully Hollywood keeps their grubby hands off of it. Don't want a sequel or a remake. They need to leave it alone.
A reboot?
No.
with Jennifer Lawrence as Marty?
Oh gosh.
Huh?
That would be terrible.
Ooh, check the yellow. Back to the Future is mid. See?
Really?
That's the comments we were waiting for. See, and then there's no debate. We ended there. See how great it is? like Back to the Future is mid. Okay.
Yeah.
And we go about our day.
I could agree with that for the second and third, but I'm curious why he thinks the first one.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. Back to the Future.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
we'll move on to the number 8s.
Yeah. Heavy movie. Okay, we're doing a.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Wait, is that the poster I sent you? No, you chose that poster.
Oh, probably. I don't know.
That's amazing. That's a great poster. Where did you find it?
Google Images, I guess. No, the one you sent was kind of low quality, so this one was a
gotcha. Yeah, that's a better one. Has anyone seen it?
I haven't.
I have not.
But
this is underground. Oh, you've heard about it, Joe?
Yes.
You have. Okay. This is underground British filmmaking. Peter Greenaway, right? I don't know how to. Again, it's one of those experiences. Again, obviously every film's an experience, but this is the film where it's almost bizarre. I'm not sure if it was a stage play before that, or did it become that after? But it feels like you're watching a stage play in the best sense of the term. It is the one film where every department is utilized at its best, at its maximum, right? So production design, costume design, color schemes, red, green, blues, all of the department heads are used to their max, and it's a truly immersive experience in that sense, where you go from the kitchen, that's all green, and the food is also, goes with the walls, the color of the food and the color of the costumes of the cooks, right, and all of that. And then you get into another space and it's all red all of a sudden, and the costumes of the actors and the characters actually change from room to room. Continuity doesn't matter, right? It's broken by the color scheme of the space, the production design, the costume design, all marrying each other, right? All dancing together as we are revel into this incredible piece of theater with these incredible actors like Michael Gambon, who's one of the greatest British actor of all time. This is Helen Mirren young, right? I don't know if you guys have ever seen Helen Mirren young, but this is that. And basically she cheats on her disgusting husband and this mobster, right? Who is this loudmouthed, horrible man, and she has an affair with this intellectual at a table, and the entire film is happening over a dinner table, over a huge restaurant, inside of a restaurant that the main character owns, and it is unbelievable, and it's a film that probably couldn't be made today. There's a lot of nudity, there's a lot of sex, there's a lot of gluttony, there's a lot of it's pretty incredible.
Nice.
Yeah, like I've heard that it's kind of intense, so it's like, okay, I need to like be in the right mind. I just need to like mentally prepare myself. Or
it's intense, it's intense, but at the same time, not that much. It's not like I don't know what's it called in English. It's called like Grande Bouffe, which is with Mastroianni and all these great actors that go into it's all about like gluttony and the way they eat, and they actually eat themselves to death, and it's actually quite horrific and disgusting and really intense. This is more like, fuck, this is like a lot of fun for the first 30 minutes because Michael Gambon is so funny, because he's so cruel that he becomes hilarious, and his sense of humor is perfectly British, and he just goes on and on and on in his spiel, and he talks and talks and talks and never stops, and it's hilarious, and ends up being absolutely hilarious with the camera work and how it goes from one place to another, and how we're following Helen Mirren's character, who's this wife, this unhappy wife, who all she wants is to get out of there, and she meets this guy, and suddenly she has hope. But it's all done with a lot of how do I say this? It doesn't take itself seriously. Like there's a lot of comedic moments in this, and it's sometimes it's very lighthearted, and it gets more and more intense as we get till the end, but not that crazy either. It's always in good fun, in a sense. But it's a true remarkable masterclass, especially from the guy on the left, Michael Gambon, the big man on the left. He's a masterclass just to himself. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go to some comments here. Jack the Yeller says he's never heard of it. Might have to look into it. And then response to Back to the Future being mid, he means mid God tier.
Of the God tiers. I agree. It's the worst of the God tier.
And then Bernardo says, I love the entire trilogy, especially the third. I don't care. I love the third. Jack the Yeller calls it a turd. He broke Bernardo's heart. Yep. Well, I disagree with that. The third one is not a turd, but whatever. Anyways, that's for the 90s list. Yeah, I might have to check this one out, though. I've never heard of it before. All right. We'll move to our number 8 for Joe.
So I assume, have we all seen this one?
I haven't.
Okay. So I can't talk about the ending.
There's a lot of things you can't talk about.
Like, people say that like this is sort of like the quintessential sort of like love letter to cinema, and yeah, like that's a pretty good description for it. And it kind of like it's like it is like kind of sentimental, but it doesn't feel like it's over the top in what it's doing. It doesn't feel like it's super corny or whatever, you know? And I feel like with these sort of movies that are sort of like an ode to cinema, they can fall into the trap of being absolutely corny beyond like just I can't anymore because it's like so in your face. But like I don't feel like that's the case with this movie. And the ending, which I'm not going to give away, it is really like it gives me chills. Like it gave me chills the first time I watched it. And it's really impactful, and it definitely, if you have a lot of respect for the medium, it's something that does really hit close to home. And yeah, it's definitely worth checking out and deserving of a lot of the praise that it gets.
I think I want to piggyback on what you just said about corniness and cliches and all that, because I think that's interesting, because a lot of cinema paradiso could be considered corny, could be considered cliches, could be at almost every moment you could be like, you could roll your eyes, and for some reason you don't. Now, why is that, right? And I feel like that's a really interesting question, because what makes something corny, right? What makes something cliche? A cliche is something that works, right? It's something that has been overused, right? That's why it's a cliche, but it works in the first place. That's why it's a cliche in the first place, because it worked. And the reason why we call it a cliche is not necessarily because it doesn't work. It's just that it's overused. And in Cinema Paradiso, almost every moment, whether it's the music cues, whether it's the storylines, whether it's sometimes lines of dialogue, in the hands of another director or another writer, you could roll your eyes. And I feel like that shows the power of directing. But most importantly, I think it shows the power of honesty. It's a film that's done so honestly, right? It shows you a story, and it doesn't try to be anything else. It doesn't try to do something else. It doesn't try to make you think about other things. It is telling you the story as honestly as possible. And I feel like perhaps that's the key, right? Perhaps if you stay honest, truly honest to what you have to say, and you say it in the most open way possible, then perhaps the cliches and the corniness and whatever you may perceive as that becomes just true and becomes emotional and hits to your heart, because at the end of the day, we're all susceptible to corniness, right? In our lives in general, right? We're all sensitive to it, but we need to buy it. And Paradiso, I think, sells it to us perfectly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I have it on VHS.
The VHS, the VHS comes in handy for sure.
Yes. I have a local.
Sorry, Harrison. We have a cliche in the chat.
Oh yes.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. That's the cliche. So that's what I was talking about as a cliche. So that is a perfect representation of a cliche. Max pretends. Now you all know. Now we all know what that looks like. It looks like this.
Another comment here for Samuel. Talk about another underappreciated 80s gem for a moment. Cutter's Way is mesmerizing thriller love triangle, big conspiracy. Haven't heard of that one. Have you guys heard of that one?
No, I have not. I saw it earlier in the chat. I was like, I wish I could talk about it, but my culture is lacking. Oh, Blowout, for sure. 100%.
Yeah, Blowout, another great thriller. Haven't heard of that one.
I also really want to check out The Hit. I see that they mentioned that one. Yeah.
Blowout is great. Third Back to the Future is fun. Yeah.
I like the third one.
First Empire Strikes Back.
And then what was that? Empire Strikes Back. Nice. We'll put the rest of your list in there too. I'm curious. Eghoza? I hope that's how you pronounce it.
I would love to call out Max Pretends and ask for his list. I would love to see that list of the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Return of Oz is way better than its reputation suggests. Really got the feel for that late 90s. Nice.
I haven't seen that one either.
Cool.
All right. We'll move on to my number 8, The Goonies. Yep. Another Drew Struzan poster here. Um, I love this movie. I love the friendships they have, the connections they have. You know, it always makes you feel like a kid every time you watch it. You know, all the memories you have of. I grew up in a rural community, so going into the woods and just exploring and finding stuff. And yeah, I really connect with this movie on that level. But yeah, you guys have seen it, obviously, right?
Of course,
I
incredible.
actually have not.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
people are so shocked when they learn that. I know of it. I hear it sort of is under like the same reputation of like The Sandlot or something, where it's like childhood classic.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, I haven't seen Goonies, but it's definitely been I've been meaning to watch it for a while, especially since it's one of the other like earlier prominent roles of Ki Hoi Kwan, you know, and now he's like sort of revived his career with Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is amazing.
Mm,
So
for sure.
yeah.
I apologize for. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing for Max Pretends in the comments who doesn't know how to make a list in one paragraph. So he goes title by title in the thing. I apologize in advance. He'll get there. See, like he's going, bit by bit. He's gonna put it all in one list, I believe, at some point. He's gonna, just
Okay.
let's have a little patience. Uh,
Yeah, I was starring him, but if he's going to do that, I'll wait.
yeah.
All right. Let's see. We got a comment here. Empire Strikes Back. Nice. Raging Bull. Nice. Back to the Future. Heck yeah. Another Back to the Future fan.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters. Terminator. Love it. E.T. Die Hard. Yes. Love Die Hard. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Do the Right Thing. Haven't seen that one. And Blade Runner. Nice.
Yeah, that's a great
That's a good
list.
list.
Raging Bull for sure, 100%.
All right. So I'll wait for Max's list here. We'll move on to number 7. All right.
Just oh my gosh, tonal shift. Oh my god.
Wait, remind me the one before that.
Yeah, one with kids, another one with kids.
Oh my god.
Different.
Yeah, right. It's
Reasons.
both films are with kids. They're the same movie. Yeah, I mean,
I haven't
obviously.
seen this one though. But...
Oh my god!
I know of it, and I'm terrified.
Wait, has no one seen it?
I haven't I haven't gotten the courage to watch it.
Yeah,
like,
no, but
Same.
that takes courage. See, the Cook, Thief, Wife, and Lover is just
is
an incredible
nothing
piece
compared to this.
Yeah, it's an incredible
Like,
piece of art. Sure, it can be, but this takes courage for sure. It takes
on the
a
same
movie night.
Like from what I hear, it's like similarly to the level of like Schindler's List. You know, it's like
Yes, even worse. Some would say it's worse.
Oh my goodness.
You know what? It's actually worse.
Good to know.
I let's say this: I cried more at Schindler's List, but this is worse. This is more intense. You know what? I'll double it. This is double times more intense.
Oh my goodness. Oh my god.
1.5 times more intense. I exaggerated with the double. 1.5 times. So the movie gig is the Bernardo is his name. The movie gig productions. So he's a sadist, right? Because
he said it twice.
He just said that he saw it twice. That's good to know.
Wait. He saw it twice.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's what sadists do. Correct. Or masochists. So yeah. He didn't put the numbers. Max Pretends didn't put the numbers in his things, but it's okay. I think we'll give him a break. We'll assume that the first name is number 10 or not.
I think it's number 1 because that was the first one you talked about. Maybe
it is number 1. See, like that's the thing. That's the thing with pretending. You can't pretend. Like you have to be real because now like we're confused and you're in bed backing up the entire chat. I saw by myself, then I showed it to my brother. Wow. Number one, he said. What is number one? Okay, let's just go to his list. Let's see his list. Let's put his list.
We'll bring back up. Yeah.
So,
Got Top
so
Gun.
we assume that Top Gun's number one. Okay, Top Gun, E.T., The Princess Bride for sure,
nice.
Footloose, duh, of course, Ghostbusters, Gremlins, Tootsie. Surprised you've seen that many films. Tootsie, you've seen Tootsie? Beetlejuice, Back to the Future, Do the Right Thing, and Fame. Fantastic. That's actually a cool list.
It's a very interesting list. Yeah.
The variety.
Yeah.
Gremlins is Gremlins between Ghostbusters and Tootsie.
Honestly, I get a pretty consistent tone.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's pretty great. But Max pretends I doubt you saw Tootsie, though. You're gonna have to show me proof of that. And fuck yeah, Top Gun number one, of course. You know that's obvious. So great. Now, so Come and See.
Back
Yes,
onto
I've
the movie.
talked about this. I don't know how to talk about it. It was made by Elem. I don't want to. Elem Klimov. Something Klimov. Please correct me in the comments. Something Klimov, and he's a Belarusian. It's a Belarusian film, right? Done during the height of the Cold War in the 80s. And it shows, to say that it shows the horror of World War II and Nazism is an understatement. That's why it's like I don't know what words I can use, because it doesn't just show it. It's not even about the Nazis. It's about the human race, right? It's about the cruelty of humanity. It really is about that. It delves into every aspect of that cruelty. So, as it goes, it is incredibly filmed. It is beautifully, the cinematography is incredible. The aspect ratio is all in it's a specific aspect ratio. It's not even 4:3. It's a specific one. That brings you, that transports you into that bleak, dark, disgusting world that we never want to be a part of. And it's like that for 2 hours, and it's an adrenaline rush. And yeah, I don't know of a film that delves into human cruelty more than that. Maybe Salo, 120 Days of Sodom by Pasolini. It probably is maybe worse than that in terms of human cruelty, again with Nazism. But yeah, it's incredibly haunting, powerful, should be seen by everyone. It is incredibly important. It's a feat of filmmaking like none other. And actually, the kid that plays, the guy that plays the kid was scarred for life after shooting
I'm
this
sure of it.
Maker never made a movie really again. Well, he made like a few documentaries after that. I don't think he's made another feature film. And it's one of those that are, part of the pantheon of cinema that needs to be watched with an open mind. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also like the second highest rated film on Letterboxd as well.
Yeah, because it's the most important film. It's so important. It's a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. There's no mistake in this.
It's like a 4.6 on Letterboxd.
Yeah. No, 5 for me.
Or like the average, like.
Yeah, the average is like 4.6, 5 for me. Yeah, there's it's just a fantastic comedy, overall. At the end of the day. So there you go.
Yep.
Just a really, really deep comedy on human nature and its facets. It's wonderful facets.
Oh my god!
All
Sounds very fun.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Totally the same. Let's see, Goonies and Come and See. Totally the same.
Joe, your reaction was perfect because I did not realize at all that the Goonies and Come and See was, the tonal shift that the Goonies and Come and See was, and it couldn't have been brought in at a better moment. So
The thing is, this tonal shift was better than all of the tonal shifts combined.
100%,
Yes.
100%, without a doubt.
All right. Now we'll see what the tonal shift is with this one.
Another movie about childhood that's totally the same movie.
But the 80s were a lot about childhood. The films
Yeah.
of the 80s are a lot about, tackle childhood.
Yeah, so like Come and See and My Neighbor Totoro, totally the same movie about childhood. Come on. Anyways, yeah, My Neighbor Totoro is it's very much like on the topic of like, I guess, childhood. It's kind of a movie that sort of embodies sort of time progression as a child or something. Like it has a very laid back sort of mood, and it's it's really freaking adorable, but also it really captures childhood in a way that like only like Miyazaki is really like able to. And I mean, yeah, I don't really know if I can add much to like how like renowned this movie is, and like I'm struggling to like think of a lot of new stuff to say, but it's really good.
Yeah, this is actually one of the only Miyazaki films I've seen. I've only seen this one and Princess Mononoke.
Oh, wow.
Princess Mononoke is Max Pretend's favorite film of all time.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's favorite, for sure.
Good taste.
Yeah, he's got great taste. I actually had a hard time with this one the first time around because it's not a traditional storyline at all. It's very, I want to say cause and effect. There's no real like plot structure. So that could kind of turn you off a bit. But
yeah, especially when like this movie, like it's often like called like one of the best animated films of all time. And then when people actually watch it, it's like nothing much is happening,
Right.
But it's sort
the
of
magic.
Yeah, it's sort of one of those like I think I probably like I grew up with this movie, so like I didn't have that sort of preconceived notion beforehand. And it's definitely one that like I want to watch again next time it's screening at Ghibli Fest, which is like the daily thing. Like I assume, do you know what Ghibli Fest is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've
It's
heard
like
of it.
It's when the company G Kids re-releases a handful of the Ghibli films like every year. So like they've already done a couple this year, and they're going to be, and the next two for the rest of this year are Howl's Moving Castle and Spirited Away. And I'm really excited to see what next year's announcement is. So yeah, but yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Got a comment here from Leonard. Haven't seen much from the 80s, so I'll limit myself to 5. Number 1, Raging Bull. Number 2, Modern Romance. Number 3, Blue Velvet. 4, Blowout. And 5, After Hours. I haven't seen any of those movies.
That's an interesting list because you haven't seen Raging Bull?
Nope, not yet.
Okay, it's an interesting list because you say you haven't seen much of the 80s, but you've seen... I mean, besides Raging Bull, those are not necessarily the first films of the 80s that you go and watch. Modern Romance I haven't seen, but Blue Velvet, Blowout, and After Hours are pretty, niche to some extent. I mean, Blue Velvet is a classic, of course, but it doesn't feel like the first film that you'd watch from the 80s. Blowout, sure, is a classic, but many people haven't seen that. And After Hours is actually a Scorsese film, and it's an underground Scorsese film. It's an underrated one. I think it's fantastic. All of these films on this list is fantastic. I'm just surprised that you haven't seen much, but you've seen those.
All right. So we'll move on to my number 7, The Little Mermaid. I know, another Disney movie.
Well, switching from Ghibli then to another major animation studio.
And this is the big conversation at the moment. I
Yeah.
don't understand why it's a conversation, but it's why it's a debate. But it's a debate right now. I actually love the casting that they did with the new one. I think it looks perfectly like
it's just a
mermaid.
bunch of idiots on the internet trying to.
Yeah, but like the thing is, it's like, oh, it doesn't look like Ariel, but Ariel didn't look like a mermaid. Like the thing is, like the new one, I don't remember her name. She looks much more like a mermaid than Ariel did. Like the casting for live action is much more perfect, I think. And if I would have seen just a white redhead it would have been like a bit like, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't have worked as a live action. So yeah, I don't get that debate, but go ahead.
Yeah. The debate aside, I really love this movie. You know, the animation style is incredible and kind of brought in the Renaissance in Disney. They were pretty lackluster for a while after Walt died. And this to me is when they really recaptured the magic of when he was alive, kind of going back to their roots, the fairy tale stories. And I love the, like I said, animation style and the music. Love Howard Ashman's music in this. And Alan, let's see, what's the other guy's name? Alan Menken, I think, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, incredible movie. One I watched a lot as a kid on top of all the other Disney movies. We had pretty much all of them. And yeah, I don't know what else to add. It's a great movie.
What would you put what would be your ranking of the fearsome foursome of Disney, which includes The Little Mermaid in the 90s? So it goes Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, and Mermaid. Which one goes? What's your ranking of that?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Joe, I want to know yours as well.
Yeah. Okay, I'll let you go first, Harrison.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So probably Beauty and the Beast. I really
number one.
That movie. Yeah, that'd be number one.
Okay.
This one at number two.
Cool.
And Aladdin and Lion King. That's a tough choice. All of them I give, I think, a 4.5 or a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, same. Same.
It's like comparing apples to oranges at this point.
I know. Joe, what about you?
Yeah, I don't know.
So you were saying Little Mermaid,
Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Lion King.
Okay, Lion King would be number one, I think.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast slightly edged, like just honestly, I honestly like would be second. It's sort of like I pick between those like constantly, but like I'm pretty firm with Lion King right now. But like Beauty and the Beast is a really close second.
Yeah.
Aladdin and then Little Mermaid. Or wait, was that the right one?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
so it's me would be Lion King at number one for sure by far. Second and third is tough between Little Mermaid and Aladdin. But I would Aladdin, then Little Mermaid, then Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. It's cool. It's really interesting though, because they're perfect films. It's incredible that they managed to do that all the way in the 90s. Oh no, but Little Mermaid is 89, right?
It is.
Yeah, it's 89. It's right,
so like right before.
Of course. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm kind of sick of the live action remakes.
100%.
I mean, like the thing is, like, like I'm not big on any of the live action movies anyway. So it's like
same. 100%. I'll never. I don't see them. I don't. I think the only one I've seen is Jungle Book. Hated the Beauty and the Beast live action remake, and I think I stopped there. I stopped right there.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for this newer one that they're doing for Little Mermaid, I think it'd be cool if they did something like the Cinderella, where it's the same storyline, but kind of different character designs or different things like that. That way it's not a carbon copy. Like the Pinocchio movie was awful. Oh gosh. It was
Have you seen it?
Yes, I did on
I watched
Tuesday.
it.
Oh.
Wait, the Pinocchio movie came out? Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
I'm like
Disney
out
Plus,
of the loop. I haven't seen anything. And it's awful, right?
Oh, it's dreadful.
Don't waste your time.
like oh,
If you want to subject yourself to torture for 2 hours, be my guest.
God.
Yeah.
It seems like a
No pun
lot of
intended.
films,
No pun
a
intended.
lot of
Yeah.
Disney theme.
a lot of films that are coming out that have been expected, no, like that have been hyped, I guess, um are turning out to be awful. Don't Worry Darling apparently is
Yes, I
horrible.
heard about that. Yeah.
Blonde is apparently horrible.
Well,
The
that
Marilyn
seems a little. I mean, I don't know. Well, I'm still like holding out hope for Blonde. I feel like.
Yeah, I know, but 2.6 on Letterboxd. It's unbelievable. The what's going on. But anyway, yeah.
All right. Let's look at the comments here. Going from Samuel. 3 more favorites. Barely missed the cut. License to Kill, Living Daylights. Oh, Timothy Dalton fan, huh?
That's
don't
right.
hear that a lot
He
for
brought,
James
he brought
Bond.
Timothy Dalton in the mix. That's super
great.
cool.
You never hear that. And then Star Trek Voyage Home. Ooh, classic. I like that. That one barely missed my list too, because so many of the 80s movies I love have a 4.5 or a 5. It was like picking your favorite child. It was really difficult to make my list. Oh. Okay, Hugo. Okay, I'll read it from 10 to 1. We got The Elephant Man, Scarface. Nice. Blue Velvet, Cinema Paradiso. Come and See. Hey, another Come and See fan. There you go.
A fan, yes.
If you could call it that, right?
It's a big fan.
Yep.
The Sacrifice, Tarkovsky.
Blade Runner, Raging Bull, Amadeus. Hey, another Amadeus. And Once Upon a Time in America.
I wonder who that Hugo is, but he does have fine taste.
He's got a great list.
Wow.
All right. We'll move on to our number 6.
I remember you mentioned this one, Adrien, last time.
Wow.
Or
Okay.
alluded to it briefly.
So, because this is French territory, I will be continuing the conversation in French, the analysis at least. Alors, Le Roi et l'Oiseau, c'est un film donc évidemment des années 80, écrit par Paul Grimaud et Jacques Prévert, mis en scène.
I wondered if you were going to just totally troll us like that.
Tu vois, Harrison, moi, ce que j'essaie de te dire, c'est que Joe, elle n'a pas vu la dernière fois quand c'était le roi, tu vois?
Si. Or I guess we. I speak Spanish.
I guess we is a better. We will get you further. So Le Roi et l'Oiseau, which in English translates to The King and the Mockingbird, is one of those. So it's obviously French. I'm just trying to think of like how I can talk about this. It's written by Jacques Prévert, who was the poet of France at the time. He would write poems, right? Poetry used to be a job, a paid one at that, at a certain time, especially in France, right? Poetry is incredibly important in France, and incredibly valued. And so cinema, the film business, the French film business, valued it as well. And so often hired poets to write screenplays. And you would see that we've talked about this in the 50s with Nathan Harrison, with The Beauty and the Beast and The Beauty and the Beast from the 40s, and Orpheus, right, by Cocteau, who was himself a poet, right? And then you see it in screenplays of filmmakers in the 40s and the 50s in France, like Marcel Carnet, which would be which would have that depth of poetry into the storylines that would be unique to anything else in the industry, anything else in world cinema. I haven't seen any cinema that has that kind of poetry in its dialogue and its writing over in world cinema at that time. So it kind of went into the 80s, and so Jacques Prévert was the most famous poet of France, right? It was France's most famous poet. And so he would come in and write screenplays for films. And one of those was Le Roi d'Oiseau, was The King of the Mockingbird. And so it's this beautiful, this very subtle love story. It was a dig at the monarchy. It was a dig at how the French are towards
Yes.
monarchies, and so it was a dig at that, but in such a subtle way, it's almost a silent film. It's very odd how it's done. It's every dialogue is poetry, and when there's no dialogue, it's all told by music and dance, and it's so incredibly soothing. So it's an incredibly soothing film. It's a love story that happens between a how do you call a sewer boy? How do you call the chimney the people that work in the chimneys and that take away the sewage? What's it called?
Chimney sweep.
It's a chimney sweep, right?
Hmm.
It's a chimney sweep and a farm girl, and it's a love story between the two, and they have to hide their love story. Because if the king finds out, because the king's in love with the farm girl, and if the king finds out, shit's about to go down. So it's really interestingly done. The same way that Miyazaki brings in the culture of Japan, right, and brings in the culture of Asia into his films, and brings in the magic and brings in the narrative. This is the same thing, but for France. So it brings in that culture. It's a truly French film. And at the same time, it's a very universal film. Because as I said, I don't remember there being a lot of dialogue, but I remember it impacted me to this day. The social commentary was also incredible. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, this one I really have been wanting to see because I know that like it's considered like one of the most like influential animated films. I know that it influenced Isao Takahata, who went on to be one of the founders of Studio Ghibli alongside Hayao Miyazaki, Toshio Suzuki, and I'm forgetting who the other one is, but the four founders of Ghibli. But I know especially it inspired Isao Takahata.
Gotcha. I didn't know that. That's really good to know. No,
Yeah.
it makes me want to watch it again. It's been a while. But I love the memories of it. There's these films, especially films from your childhood, where you just remember them and you like those memories cozy in your mind, and you like it that way, not necessarily wanting to rewatch it. But it's really great. And just quick spoiler, but like the way they fall in love is they're two paintings, basically. It's a painting of the farm of a farm girl, a painting of the chimney sweep, and they get away from their paintings and they get away from the castle. So it's everything is a metaphor to oppression and freedom and so on and so forth. It's incredible. Hugo, we have a Nathan fan in the comments. Where the F is Nathan? That's a good question that we would all love to know.
Yes, may he rest in peace. No.
Yeah, that's right.
No, he's doing school right now, so he's pretty busy, but shout out to Nathan if you guys aren't following him. He's a cool guy. Hope we can have him back on soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Move on to the next number 6.
Right. Speaking of the founders of Ghibli, I guess, back onto the train. Yeah, so this one, like Kiki's Delivery Service, it, like in regards to Miyazaki's films, this one is probably like the most comfort-esque, or like it's definitely a comfort movie of mine. But in regards to Miyazaki's films, it's definitely sort of a go-to comfort movie. And I found that like I loved it a lot more as an adult, and also just like understanding the messages about like burnout and how and the conflicting feelings that you can feel, that like for feeling burnout for something that you're really passionate about, but also the way of like sort of when you distance yourself from that passion for a while, the reason why you loved it crawls back in again, and I think that's something that like just really impacts it's and like resonated with me a lot more as I rewatched it, because like as a kid I was like, cool, whatever. It's like this was one of the Ghibli films that I watched the least as a kid. Like I think I only watched it once as a kid or something. But like when I got older, I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I love this movie? What until now? Oh my gosh. So yeah. Have you
That's a
two
good
seen
point.
it? Or
Yeah.
I have not. No.
Seen it when I was a kid, though. I don't remember much of it. I have memories of it. Again, that did wait, Spirited Away. Oh no, that's 2000s.
Mm.
Princess Mononoke is when.
97.
Gotcha. So we're in the 90s at that point. Okay. So that's my Ghibli references are more on that end. Neighbor
It's
Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, love all of them. You know, I just haven't seen them in a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
But fantastic.
Yeah. Like it was really like the late 80s when
Right.
yeah,
When he came into his own.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think I've heard like, well, wait, I was going to say something but then I just it's never mind. But yeah, it's really interesting because like just a quick side note about Totoro, it was actually released as sort of like a double bill with Grave of the Fireflies.
Oh wow.
But like both movies actually ended up being a flop, and some people actually blame Grave of the Fireflies for it being a flop because it's such a depressing movie. I haven't seen Grave of the Fireflies, but like I definitely hear of it. And that's kind of some of the reasoning that people sort of point to, you know. But just an interesting side note, just
yeah,
like
no, it's cool.
But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Pop Culture 33. Hey, Evan. Thanks for watching. So his list, he's got Batman, Real Genius, Blade Runner, Roadhouse, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, Brazil, Die Hard, When Harry Met Sally, Ghostbusters, and Great Mouse Detective. Heck yeah. I love that movie. Just missed the list, though.
I love that he has When Harry Met Sally in there. Probably my favorite rom-com.
All right. And make sure to subscribe to him, guys. Pop Culture 33. He's got great videos, too.
Will do.
Samuel, Top Secret. Another vastly underrated. Haven't heard of that one. Maybe because it's a secret. And Evan again. Left Off Willow. Val Kilmer's in the 80s is king to me. Yeah, I agree with that. He was awesome in Top Gun as well.
Yep. Yeah, great scene in Top Gun. I was talking about Top Gun 2, actually.
Oh, Top Gun Maverick. He's good in both. He's good in both. Yeah. Okay, got one from Joy Lumbreras. Kiki's Delivery Service is a banger. Yeah, I definitely need to check it out. I have all of them saved on a watch list on HBO Max. So at some point I'll watch them all.
Well, yeah, almost all of the Ghibli films are on HBO Max, except for Grave of the Fireflies, and then like technical exceptions as to why they're not on there. So like Castle of Cagliostro, or wait, no. Yeah, Lupin the Third, the Castle of Cagliostro, which some people debate. It's more of like just Miyazaki's like first feature film, so that isn't on there. The Red Turtle, which was produced by Ghibli, but technically is a Ghibli film. So, like, just a couple of exceptions for reasons. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go on to my number 6, Ferris Bueller. This one's been mentioned several times on here. Have you guys seen it?
I have seen it, yes.
You know, that's one of the classics that I kept pushing. I saw the other one. Remind me the name. Breakfast Club. Yeah. Loved it. And I'm sure I love this one too. I just haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't get too much into it, but I don't know what it is, but I just love Ferris himself. He's such a likable character, even though he's ditching school and all of that. It kind of not someone to look up to, but nonetheless, very likable character, and his connection with Cameron and Sloane and all of that, hilarious. And their teacher, or their principal rather, chasing them while they're driving through Chicago, hilarious. Music is great. I don't remember who sings it, but the song is like, oh yeah, like it plays at the end of the movie. It's hilarious. Yeah, I think it's one of John Hughes' best. I really do. He did some great teen comedies.
The greatest.
Yep. So definitely check it out, Adrien. I think you'll really like it.
I know, but that's a must. I mean, it's going to happen. I haven't watched a movie. I don't know if you watch my letterbox, but I've been so busy with work and the projects that I haven't watched a movie in 2 months, which is insane for me.
Wow.
I used to watch 2 to 3 movies a day.
That's crazy.
Yep. All right. Where's Joe?
I think she had to take a phone call or something.
Oh. Okay.
Let's see. 100% was on top 10 for that reason.
Cool.
Have you guys seen the trailer for the new one? It looks terrible.
There's a new one?
Yeah, it's going to be a TV show.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it looks terrible. Ugh. Got a comment from Joey. Ferris Bueller's Day Off is my second favorite John Hughes. Next to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles be number 1. Well, stick around. You may see that one show up on my list.
You may, but it's
you may.
Not for sure.
There's a high possibility it won't be there. No. All right. All right. Well, we'll move on to the number 5s. Adrien. Never heard of this one.
Yeah. So again in French. So the ménage is obviously, as you know, in English, you guys call ménage a threesome, correct? A 3-way relationship. That's what that's a ménage, I guess, in America. In France, this is translated to tenue de soirée, which means like night outfit, right? Like the outfit that you wear on a nice night out. So this is a very underground movie, right? It's a movie that, one, could never be made today, but two, surprised that it was even made back in that day. It's extremely French. It's extremely French in every sense of the word. The characters, you guys know Gérard Depardieu?
I don't.
Who played Cyrano de Bergerac, who played in America. He played a lot of movies in America. The Man with the Iron Mask. I'm trying to think of the big roles he played.
I'm looking on Letterboxd.
Big fat dude.
Life
of Pi, correct?
Oh, okay.
Hamlet,
anyway,
the one with Kenneth Branagh.
That's right. He is the great, one of the greatest French actors of all time, and also he has made over 200 films, right? So he's the most prolific actor in France, and actually one of the most prolific actors of all time. And it's a film that it's a mix. It's funny because it's a mix of poetry and vulgarity. Right? It's extremely sexual. It's extremely vulgar. It's extremely. It pushes the boundaries like no other film has ever done, and in the process of doing that, explores toxic masculinity and masculinity in general, actually, to its highest degree. Nothing compares to that. All in metaphors. All in subtlety, nothing is in your face. Everything is and at the same time, it's comedy gold. It's a sense of humor that no one has had after him, this filmmaker Bertrand Blier, who is incredibly underrated. All his films have been done that way. It's opposites. He puts opposites together. He pushes the limits in such a way that no one has even the courage to do. Even in France, even for France, it's a big deal. It's boundary pushing and trailblazing. And so it was a bit of like the sexual revolution in the 80s in France in film, where sex was prominent in films, and he took advantage of that to actually talk about our society, to actually explore masculinity in our society. And it's a fascinating outlook on human nature in general, and it is hilarious. So, and weird and odd, and sometimes, most of the time, it makes no sense what's going on. It's the opposite of what you would think is going to happen happens. Everything you think is going to happen, the opposite is going to happen. And every single second you look at it, you're like, someone made this. How did someone come up with it? And two, how did someone ever put the money to make this?
To prove it, right?
I obviously recommend it to everyone. It's just that I don't know where to find it. It's on YouTube probably. With subtitles, it's going to be tough to find. But it is. I'm actually. I wonder how Americans or just foreign people that are not French, how they would respond to it. Because I showed it to my American producer, and she loved it. She was in love. She thought it was the funniest thing she had ever seen, because it's situational, and at the same time, the language comes into play and adds another dimension. But I feel like when you're French, it's even funnier, right? It adds that dimension. It adds that depth. And I don't know if when you're foreign to that language, if you have the same effect, right? If you receive it the same way, it'd be interesting to find out, because almost no one has seen this film, but recommend it to everyone, and recommend that filmmaker to everyone.
I'm definitely putting this on my watch list because I've never heard of it, and yeah, it sounds interesting. I'll have to check it out.
Right. So wow, no way he's seen it. That is incredible. Wow. That is not on many lists. Pop culture. I'd love to know what's his name? What's his real name? Evan?
Evan, yeah.
Evan, I'd love to know he's not, is he French?
No.
Wow. American?
Yep.
Wow. That's incredible. I'd love to know. You're on Instagram, right? DM me at Tarana Cinema. DM me how you came in contact with it and who kind of, got you into it and everything. Because that is so underground. Like even in France, like most people haven't seen it. Like that's the thing. And you rented it from video store back in the 90s. I assume in the US, so maybe, obviously it was more out there. Oh, your father showed it to you. Amazing. But still, how did your father come across it? Still with a mainstream cast, I mean Depardieu. Yeah, so only Depardieu is mainstream, right? So Depardieu is, but he wasn't mainstream at the time, or like he was beginning to become mainstream. It is that director that brought Depardieu to the stage with a film called Going Places, which is called Les Valseuses in France. And that was a revolution. No one had ever seen a film like this. And again, extremely sexual, right? Like, but not necessarily graphic sex, just in the way people conversed about it, in the way people talked about it, with no censorship, right? It's more than that. It's not really about the sex itself. It's about how they spoke about it, and the exploration of it in the process. And so he brought Gerard Depardieu to the limelight, right? And then became the biggest star in France and one of the biggest stars in the world. So pop culture, Evan said Green Card in 1942 as most popular American films. Correct. I was looking for it. Green Card is a Peter Weir film, a rom-com. Have you guys seen it?
No.
The Green Card is a rom-com, really good. And Depardieu, it plays an American as well. No, plays obviously a French guy, but he plays in English. And in 1942, 1942. Are we talking? Oh, are we talking about the same? I think you're no 1492. Yeah. He's talking about the Ridley Scott film about the conquest, which wasn't great, the Columbus conquest. And then he said something else.
We got this one. French. I don't know enough French films, so that wouldn't be a very long discussion.
1942 has most popular American films. Wait, there was something else as well. Did someone mention that?
French American. Okay, yeah, he said 1492.
But because of Depardieu was big in the 90s, so a lot of films came to America. That makes some sense. Sure, that makes sense. Okay. And then Hugo said Depardieu was a star in France when he made that film. Yes, but recent star. Again, Depardieu was a star in the 70s, right? 74. This was made in 83. No, actually, no, that's true. He was a star, 10 years. Sometimes you think, because it's the same director, you imagine, but obviously he's done many films in between, right? The first film he's done with him. So yeah, 10 years, he was a star for sure. So yeah, he was a star. And then Novecento is obviously, that's the movie I was looking for, the 1900 one. That's the biggest one. That's the big movie with him and De Niro when they played together. Alors René, but that doesn't count as much. And La Chèvrière, yeah. No, yeah. So he's done some stuff. He's done some stuff to 83, and then that's it. I'm done with that.
I'm hooked.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go to Joe's number 5.
Okay. So this so if you remember, my number 1 of the 70s was Watership Down, and The Plague Dogs was Nepenthe Productions and Martin Rosen's second production. So this is made by the same crew as Watership Down, The Plague Dogs. And I would say, compared to Watership Down, this is definitely a much more harrowing film. It's a lot more intense. It's a lot more gritty. And it sort of is more subtle and depressing in the way that it depicts hope. Because really, both stories really depict, these gritty stories of survival, But whereas Watership Down, sort of has more of, an overtly sort of, yeah, but we're going to, defy the world being against us anyway, because whereas with Plague Dogs, it's more it's hard to talk about it without spoiling it, but because it's just particularly the ending, which I really don't want to give away because it's so well done, but it's definitely a lot more bleak in the way that it depicts hope. It's debatable that it even is depicting hope to begin with, but I think that it's sort of it's more of it sort of is showing more of a switch in the characters in how they sort of feel that way. And I realize now that I haven't even begun to give a plot description or anything, because I assume that neither of you have watched this movie.
No.
No, yeah. That's a good assumption.
Yeah. So it pretty much is about these 2 dogs that are in this research facility, and they pretty much one night escape and try and live in the wild, but they realize that it's a lot harder to do than they thought. And word gets out that these 2 dogs had escaped, and so it's rumored that on their way out, they contracted the bubonic plague because of the experiments that were done on them, or that they contracted it when they were escaping. And so it eventually escalates, and pretty much the army ends up cornering these dogs. And
oh, jeez.
I know, and they pretty much, and then they try and rely on themselves to survive, and they stumble upon this fox that's able to help them. And then when the government gets involved, things just get shittier from there. And that's all I'll say about the plot. Wow. But it's definitely a very captivating, but also very, very harrowing story. Like I've seen it twice, and the first time I saw it, I was like depressed for like for like 4 days. But like it's really, really effective. And to repeat my point, the ending, which I'm not going to give away, is really, really damn good. It's really good because it also leaves a lot up to the audience's interpretation. And I'm just looking at my notes. It also similarly to Watership Down, it really shows us the perspective of these dogs. It really gives us the perspective of like the animals that are sort of going through the story. Like they call the scientists in the lab, they call them the white coats. They like the way that like one of them has these visions because of like the experiments done on him. And it's interesting to hear like the way that they talk about humans, because one of them has this really hopeful idea about them, but the other, because of the torture that they went through the humans, are like, yeah, like no way. And it's sort of like seeing that dynamic, but them trying to strive to survive anyway, you know. So it's very much it has similar topics and themes that it discusses to Watership Down, and you can definitely see like their fingerprints all over the movie. But it's a different movie, I'd say still. Cool. And also, John Hurt is in this one, and he's pretty much unrecognizable. Like I legitimately cannot tell that it's John Hurt whenever I hear his voice in this movie, which he plays the dog to the left in the poster, and he's freaking unrecognizable. He's just amazing. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I added it
to the list. I did too. Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. But what's very also cool. Like, unfortunately, because the movie was like so, because it was so sad and depressing, it ended up being a flop, and so Martin Rosen wasn't able to make more movies, which is really a shame because you really don't see movies like Watership Down or The Plague Dogs being released today.
No.
And you know, which it, like, and it just would have been cool to like imagine like this could have been like he could have like done this for a really long time, like just adapt Richard Adams novels and have John Hurt star as the main character. Like that would have been freaking amazing. I'm just saying, I would have loved that.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, no, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, putting that in the thing. Yeah. Harrison, I just want to say I stand corrected. Hugo brings up a good point. He made just back to the thing. He's made 55 films in between. So yes, he was a star, including the last Metro by Truffaut, which was a big film in France. So because sometimes you have a same director and you're like, oh yeah, that one movie from a director and the other movie is like 5 years apart, and sometimes it's 25 years apart. So in between. So when he made that movie, he was a star. So he was a big star at that time. 55 films is 55. Can you imagine? Between this lot. First and that one. So yeah, and he's made 250 total.
Jeez,
250, and he's still going.
That's insane.
Pretty cool. Anyway, just wanted to point that out because that was a good point. Didn't realize the 55 margin. And it's so cool, Joe, that you're bringing these animated films that I've never that most people have never heard about, especially from that time or any time really. But because there are I feel like a peak of these animation films of that era that have been forgotten. I mean, we remember the Miyazakis, we remember the animes, you know, but I couldn't tell you too many animated films besides the Disneys from the 80s, you know?
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good thing. Anyone seen
I'm
Daryl?
happy to like spread the word on like underrated gems in the field of animation.
Oh,
Absolutely.
100%. No, I've never seen Daryl.
Is that the RoboCop knockoff? I think I've heard of that one. Maybe not. Or Terminator. I could be mistaken. I don't know. All right. We'll move on to my number 5. The Empire Strikes Back. So no one's seen this one, right?
No.
Totally underground movie like Adrian's and mine just were. Yeah.
You may have heard of George Lucas, maybe not. No.
Maybe not. Is
Irving Kershner.
Is the right answer.
Anyways, there's been countless video essays and all that talking about this movie. So I don't have much to add other than I love
other than it's a good movie.
It's a good movie, right? Exactly. No, but I love how in this movie, unlike most movies, the bad guys win in the end. You know, you don't see that too often.
Yeah,
so I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
you
go ahead.
Going.
Okay. I love it. Love the Imperial March, classic song, classic music. I love the kind of difference between this and the last one, A New Hope, where like the camera quality changed, the direction changed because it was Irving Kershner this time. Yeah, it's a totally different feel than the other one, and yet everyone says this is the best Star Wars movie, right? I don't agree with that. It's number 2 for me, but I love this movie, and yeah, I don't know what else to add, but
I mean, maybe that it has probably like the best twist in a movie ever, maybe.
Yes.
You know, like, and like it's so, I think it's so funny, but also really cool. Like if you like search up children reacting to like Star Wars twist of the Luke, I am your father scene, it's like,
spoiler alert.
Oh, well, everybody, I mean, come on. Everyone and their mom
42 years.
Come on.
I'm fucking with you.
I mean,
okay. No, keep going. It's a joke. Go.
But, okay. Yeah, it's definitely, it really shows sort of how like insane it was for like, just for that to be like totally canon with the story. You know, and like I can vaguely remember like having my mind blown when I heard that for the first time, you know.
Yeah. Well, and the fact too, you look at Letterboxd, the spoiler icon is Darth Vader's helmet, you know, like it's had that much impact in our popular culture.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty famous guy.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, nobody knew, even when they were making the movie, only like 2 people knew the truth of it. Like, that's insane to me.
Correct.
They kept it so hush-hush.
Mm.
All right. Got another. Well, the actors haven't made 55 before, so I call it underground, yes.
Yeah, I was talking about only Depardieu. I wasn't talking about the movie is 100% underground. For sure.
All right. We're in the number 4s.
Is that mine?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yep, Adrien.
You surprised
yourself.
That's
a good movie. Wait, before I get in, Evan said the line, "Luke, I killed your father." That was the line, which is true. Wait, was it Luke? I killed your father, or was it Obi-Wan killed your father? I think it was.
I think there were several.
Yeah, Luke, Obi-Wan killed your father, something like that.
Oh my goodness!
So
that is dedication.
Have you both seen Once Upon a Time in America?
Mm-mm.
I haven't.
Have you've heard about it? Know about it, right?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Same.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, I keep repeating the same things. I'm going to try to change it up a little bit.
You're fried me too.
It's a what?
I am as well. I've been repeating.
Yeah, no, because it's always incredible and great, which they are. I'm just trying to think of like this specialness, of each and every one of them. There's 3 versions of this film. There's the 1 hour and a half version, which is the horrible version, American version that they recut at the time because they thought it was too long and they made it linearly. That was a disgusting version. Then there's the 3 hour and 40-minute version with 3 hour and 50 minutes, something around that line, right? 3 hour and 40-minute version. And then there's the 4 hour and 15-minute director's cut. I saw the 4 hour and 15-minute director's cut at the movie theater, and they had restored it. And I will say that I would go with the 3 hour and 50-minute. Not because I thought it was, the 4 hour and 15-minute is amazing, but you could see that there was added stuff that is kind of useless to the story and to the pacing of the film. The true version is the 3 hour and 50 version, which is the Cannes version, right? And then the 4 hour and 15 is the director's version. But sometimes, there needed to be cuts. But because of its length, it's one of those experiences, right? It's one of those cathartic experiences at the movie theater. Like Seven Samurai, like Lawrence of Arabia, like Rocco and his brothers, right? All of these epics, and Once Upon a Time America being one of them, is the kind of film that you go into and you come out a different man. You come out a different person. Right? You can't believe what you're watching while you're watching it. You are experiencing the life of this family and of the life of these people, and you're seeing them grow and you're seeing them live, and it does something to you that is so unexpected. And again, we were talking about honesty earlier, and to be honest, I don't know how you make a film like Once Upon a Time in America, because it's so special and magical, and yet I couldn't tell you why exactly. I could just tell you that I cried from minute 15 to 4 hours and 50, and 4 hours and 10 minutes without like there being anything necessarily sad, just the pure beauty of the score, of the mise en scène, of the performances, of the storyline, of the genuineness of the characters. That, and I feel like that's why it has such an impact, is because it does something to you, and you can't really put it into words. It's about the end of an era, it's about regret, and there's so many themes. All of the universal themes of the world are in this film, and done in such a way, also non-linearly. So there's old De Niro, young De Niro, old De Niro, young De Niro, right? And it's a puzzle that you have to put together. It's not complicated or anything. It's very, very simple. I'm just saying it's a film that you shouldn't be putting into words, really. It's just like Lawrence of Arabia and just like Seven Samurai. It's a film that you have to experience, in the best conditions possible. But as I was crying profusely during the screening, I was always asking my question, like, what's going on? Like, why is this happening right now? And there's not really an answer. But I do know that it's one of those films where everything changes. So, yeah.
Well said. Got some comments here about it. Hugo saying best film about America.
Wait. Evan saw the right version. Once Upon is a great film. Saw the 3 hour 50-minute one. Yep, that's the right one. Because the thing is, my added stuff, I needed the added footage so that I could dry the tears and take a breath to then get back to crying. But so that was like I had 5 minutes intervals in between the great moments, Then Hugo, best film about America, absolutely. Young Jennifer Connelly, an angel. Best film about friendship, best film about life. Yes, so it is friendship is at the core front of this film. Yeah, never really been equaled. Besides the Goonies, of course.
Right.
The issue is it compares to The Godfather. I don't think it should. It's a different type of film. I prefer it to The Godfather, even though I love The Godfather. It's a different type of film, sure, but I prefer it. I prefer it. Noodles, I slipped. Yeah, Noodles is the character in the film. And that's a very famous line. That was my first time watch for this year and was an experience. Absolutely. It's the innocence and the reality of the characters. 100%. 100%. It was during my 24-hour movie marathon. Amazing. Wow. So you watched 24 like movie, like what? You watched?
Yeah, I know. Bernardo and I, and Nathan, I think, well, I haven't done it yet, but like once a year, I think usually in the summer, they partake in the 24-hour movie marathon, which is basically
what does that mean? 20 hours, 24 hours worth of films?
Yes.
Yes, with 15-minute interludes between each one.
So that means Bernardo is his name?
Mm-hmm.
So Bernardo saw Once Upon a Time in America in between other films.
Right.
Yes.
That is something.
And the fact that it was so impactful and it was an experience to him, it shows the power of the movie. Probably.
Yeah, I hope it was.
I haven't seen it, but I'm
movie.
saying, yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. So, yep.
All right. Move on to Joe's number 4.
Hey, The Princess Bride.
Yes.
Insanely quotable. It's so freaking enjoyable, and like it takes all of these things that it just works so well with it, and it's like I feel like you can kind of show this to anyone, and like it's hard to imagine them not gaining something from it or not enjoying some component from it, you know. I love sort of like the way that they execute sort of the structure of it, with it being told as sort of like a bedtime story or something like that, but like it sort of like cuts between like the actual story and then the grandpa and the grandson, and like that concluding line is just so good. Yeah, it's really good, and it's well deserved as like being known as a classic. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite line from it?
It's probably As You Wish.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The chess play is genius.
Yes.
Yeah. Is this Rob Reiner's last good film, or did he do Misery after this?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Isn't Misery in the 90s, I think?
Yeah, it's possible. Yep, I think you're right. So Misery was the last good Rob Reiner film.
I love Vicini. He's hilarious.
Yeah. Or like also the surprise appearance of Billy Crystal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you think they'll make it? It would take a miracle. Miracle worker. Oh, I love that. All right. Okay. Movie Geek saying Misery was the 90s. Okay. Cool.
We've eluded that mystery.
All right. Let's go to my number 4. Spinal Tap. Speaking of Rob Reiner.
Genius.
Oh my gosh. This movie is hilarious from the beginning to the end. Like Princess Bride, insanely quotable. I kind of dabble into playing the guitar, so I really connect on that level too. And I love heavy metal music, one of my favorite genres, and classic rock in general. But yeah, I love this movie. Love the crank it to 11. That scene's hilarious.
That's the best scene of all time.
Yes.
Like any scene in the world, that's the best scene of all time.
Definitely.
No, but
these 211. Yes. These go to 11.
No, but these go to 11. Why don't you just turn it up to 10? No, these go to 11. Best scene of all time.
Or the Stonehenge, that always cracks me up because it's so small coming down from the ceiling.
I haven't seen it, but like I know of those scenes very much.
You definitely need to see it. It's hilarious, especially because you like Princess Bride. You'll love this movie too.
Mm-hmm. And I am a guitarist myself, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Right there.
Are you a Beatles fan at all?
Yeah. Like, I mean, they're the classic. I mean,
right. Well, they poke fun at the White Album in this movie. They have their Black Album. It's just totally painted black, no lettering.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, hilarious movie. Let's see, we got Culture 33. Oh, we got for Princess Bride. Inconceivable.
We're looking for the Penthouse.
Yeah,
no, it's too good.
You
know, it invented the mockumentary, right?
Basically, yeah. I mean, after this,
everyone thought it was real. I thought it was real. Well, the first time I saw it, I thought it was a real band.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I got spoiled early on, but that's hilarious.
I didn't get spoiled. I thought it was a thing. I swear, it's amazing. I was like, but who are these people? Like, why have I never heard of them before? Samuel Steve. That's a good point, Samuel. Irvin Kershner, very interesting. He made the very odd off-brand Bond film, Never Say Never Again. Yeah, that was. You know that Kershner was George Lucas's teacher, school teacher, film school teacher
at USC, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That's crazy. But what I love about this too is so many of the actors in it have gone on to amazing careers, like Harry Shearer here in The Simpsons. He voices a lot of the characters. Christopher Guest made more movies like this. What's it called? It's the one they're all folk band. I can't remember the name of it. A Mighty Wind made that one. And then this guy, he's in Better Call Saul.
Is he? What is he playing?
Yeah. He plays Saul's brother. Is it Charles?
Oh, shit. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's so funny. I didn't even realize.
So they all had these crazy different careers from this silly comedy. Like, it's hilarious.
Wow.
Yep, Mighty Wind, Best in Show. I haven't seen that one yet. I want to, though. It's about a dog show. Shot in this style. All right. So we'll move on to the number 3s. All right, Adrien.
Oh, that's mine?
Yep.
Yeah, well, yes. The love letter to cinema, right? I mean, I think I've already said, what I wanted to say about it on Joe's turn. I will say that as a cinephile, it's the film for cinephiles, right? It's a film made for cinephiles by a cinephile. Giuseppe Tornatore, it was his second film, I believe. He had done one small film that didn't do anything. You know what? I'll talk about how this was brought to the US, which is more interesting than, the film is phenomenal. And also best score of all time, in my opinion. The Cinema Paradiso score, the letter for Elena in particular, is my favorite score in a film. Even, and I'm putting it above Schindler's List, which is a big deal for me. Right? So the score of Morricone in this is the best he's done, and it's the best score of all time. Okay, so in my opinion, of course. I'll just now talk about, because this is also one of those films where you cry from almost beginning to end. They talk about cinema with so much love that it's unbelievable. It's Yeah. So I'll just briefly talk about how it came to the U.S. This was a film that failed in Italy. It's an Italian film, right, made by an Italian director called Giuseppe Tornatore. This guy was unknown. He came out with this film. The film was a flop. No one wanted to see it. No one was interested in it in Italy. It went through a couple festival circle. Turns out that in that room was Harvey Weinstein and the Miramax team, but especially him, and his brother was there as well. But it was Harvey Weinstein. He saw that film and fell in love. It reminded him of his childhood, falling in love with film, going out there and watching the French New Wave and the Italian neorealism, and so on and so forth. And this was exactly, he didn't even know if it would work out. He just wanted to buy it because he was a huge film fan. Now, at the time, Weinstein was no one. Miramax was not, it was barely created, and it was distributing. It wasn't producing, right? Independent cinema was not a thing, right, yet. So he saw this, and it was a huge risk to buy this and to then distribute it to, especially America. It's a foreign film. It's about cinema. Who's going to fucking watch it? And it was a terrible financial decision to do this. But it was a film lover's decision more than a financial decision. He bought it, brought it to his team at Miramax. Everybody cried, and decided to market it. He marketed it extremely well. It got an audience, and it was nominated to the Oscars that year. Then it was re-released in Italy by Giuseppe Tornatore, where it was supposed to be, successful in the first place, and it succeeded in Italy enormously. Everybody wanted to go see it. After the success, small as it was back in America in the early 90s, thanks to that success and that word of mouth, then it became a success in Italy and all over Europe. It went back to festivals in a re-release format, and it became slowly a cult classic. Today, it is revered as one of the greatest films of all time. I hate, it's a shame that Harvey is such a terrible person, because he was a marketing genius, and and he brought to cinema these stuff, and it sucks that you have to talk about him in a good light, with everything that's happened. But it is true. It is what he did, and he brought this to the he created independent filmmaking, for the mainstream, for the big, for the main audience, for the bigger audience, and he knew how to market it. And so that was nominated at the Oscars that year, and that's how it became successful, and that's how we know about it today, and that's why we are able to see it today.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Clarification. Still doesn't excuse his shitty behavior, but it's good to
it doesn't excuse a single thing. It sucks, because I'd like to, it sucks that people have to be shitty, especially people of talent, because you want to talk about them. We want to celebrate them. We want to celebrate their talent, their genius, their artistry. It sucks that, especially Weinstein, out of everyone, probably the worst, like probably the worst stuff. So it sucks, but it is the history, and it is the truth. And so unfortunately it is what it is. But Cinema Paradiso, amongst other films, Sex, Lies, and Videotape was one of them as well, was part of the bundle. And another film was My Left Foot, starring Daniel Day-Lewis, and made by, I don't remember the director's name, but he was British. And so because that's what Weinstein did. He brought films from Europe to America, because he had a huge taste and a huge nose and eye for talent. So, yeah, let's go to the comments.
Yes, we got Hugo here.
Best of all
Disagreeing
time
with you.
in America. Sure. Then, yes, that's a heavy statement. Rhoda's 8.5 music is equal, if not very close. Yeah, I mean,
Rhoda is a great composer.
Look, here's the thing. Like we could take Nino Rota, we could take Danny Elfman, we could take Ennio Morricone and John Williams, put them all together. We'll have the greatest score of all time in each of them, right? At the end of the day, it comes down to personal preferences. But Letter for Elena, I can it as soon as I hear the first notes, I'm out. At least we agree on Ennio, right? I do weep when I hear the music from Paradiso Thought, of course. Yeah, exactly. Morricone, R.I.P. That's right. Be a part of cinema. The problem throughout history, assholes can be talented. Yeah. That is an issue, but what are you going to do about it, right?
Nope. All right, we'll move on to Joe's number 3.
Okay, The Elephant Man. So I love this movie. And it's it might, like, in regards to like biopics, this is probably in like my top 5. Maybe my top 3, but we'll see. Yeah, I think it's an incredibly compassionate film, and even though I'm not like I can recognize that David Lynch's films are like not my thing. You know, it's just I just get the sense, you know what? Cool, you do you. They're not for me though. But like The Elephant Man is like my favorite of his films that I have seen, which is not very much, but like still. And I feel like it's one of the more like it's one of those of his films. This is probably one that's like the most agreeable, I guess, or like
accessible.
Yeah, accessible. That's it. That's the word. And even though like the tale of Joseph Merrick's life is heartbreaking, there's this like little twist of inspiration as well. Like in spite of that, he still was able, to the best of his abilities, was able to find those who saw him as a human being and to treat him with love and compassion. And because of that, he was able to live his life under the circumstances that he was, especially considering that like people with disabilities back then were like absolutely like treated as like some sort of like subhuman. It's in spite of that, like he lived his life to the best that he could, you know?
Yeah.
And I would like to clarify that they do call him John Merrick in this, but his real name was Joseph Merrick, so that's why I said Joseph Merrick. Just because before people like say it's actually John Merrick. So, but additionally, it has like Anthony Hopkins as just a young Anthony Hopkins, just absolutely incredible. But I think we can all agree that the real highlight performance in this film is John Hurt as Joseph Merrick, because he just absolutely like commands this role. It's probably his best performance. And yeah, I mean, like, it's such a memorable role, and it's you also like it's so fascinating when you hear about sort of the makeup process of the film, because I'm pretty sure the makeup artist whose name I'm blanking out on, he actually was given the actual skull of Joseph Merrick, and actually sculpted it based off of the bone structure of him. So it's what you see in the movie is really accurate to the real Joseph Merrick. And additionally, I don't see as many people say this, but like Anne Bancroft as well is really great as the actress. She only has like a couple scenes in the movie, but she's also great. And yeah, it's a really, really powerful movie and inspirational in spite of its sort of melancholic tone.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
I definitely need to watch it.
I agree. I was, yeah, Yeah, it's a heart-wrenching film, and there's something about injustice that just brings you to yeah. That's the thing. Like when I watched it, I was mesmerized by how it wasn't trying to be something else. It was really depicting the events of what was going on to this man to its pure honesty, and it wasn't sensational, you know. He was, it wasn't made for sensationalism, so that we could pity him or do all of that. It's just a brutally honest depiction of how we act sometimes as a society. So
And
no, I
also
agree.
like I would say like the line from the movie, like that they actually have on the poster here, really like rings true to like what you just said, Adrian.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
All right. Well, let's get to the chat. So we got Hugo Goffredo Petrossi, who's a respected composer, was Ennio Morricone's teacher, never took music score seriously and thought Ennio Morricone was wrong about working with films until he heard the soundtrack of Once Upon a Time in America, called him to tell him he was wrong and that film score really was music.
That's funny.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. That's great.
We got Bernardo is it's about learning to accept others no matter how they look.
I also wrote an essay in high school about this because like we were like studying Frankenstein, and it's sort of like we had to discuss people being perceived as monsters, and so I used this as sort of my example, or like this was sort of the main theme. So
Super
I should
cool.
probably add that as well. Yeah.
Super cool.
Nice. Yeah, I need to see this.
It's really good.
All right. This is my number 3. Changing tones here.
Yeah. Now
I
I'm
don't
the
think I've
person
seen
who's,
this.
like being ostracized for my really sad movies.
No, this is a Coen Brothers film, Raising Arizona. Hilarious movie. So bizarrely weird, and there's like a motorcycle guy they call like the rider of the apocalypse or whatever. He has grenades and stuff, blowing up rabbits and all that. Super strange, but anyways, that's beside the point. Nicolas Cage, Holly Hunter, hilarious together. Nicolas Cage is like a convict. He's continually in and out of jail. And then she's the photographer that takes his picture in jail. And so they fall in love. And long story short, they decide to kidnap a kid because they can't have kids of their own from a family who has multiple kids. And just total chaos ensues after that. It's just really wacky, hilarious movie. There's a crazy camera angle where you see the camera zooming in, going up and into a window, and then you see the mom's shocked look on her face. It's hilarious. One of the best scenes in the movie. But
I haven't seen this.
You need to see it. You need to see it.
Yeah, it's the Coen. That's one of the Coen brothers I haven't seen.
Yeah. I think it's one of their best, if not their best, in my opinion.
By the way, just letting you know, so it looks like I'm gonna be here when the final round ends, right? Because it ends in 15 minutes for the tournament. Just letting you know. So I guess I'll announce the winner here. I'm just telling people to come in here. Just I'll just announce it here, I guess. And people that want to come in, they'll come in, or I'll just after that I'll do the post. Right?
A cool encore to the ranking.
Yeah, pretty much. Like just to see. It's gonna be like in 15 minutes, but we take our time. No worries.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Anything you want to add, Joe, to Raising Arizona?
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it either. Okay.
I may have it on my watch. Yeah, I have it on my watch list in Letterboxd though. So I've definitely heard of it.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, like I said, I highly recommend it. All right, let's go with chat. Hugo, you should watch Inio, a documentary directed by Tornatore in 2022. Nice.
I'm in a live. What are you doing?
Samuel's adding that to his watch list. All right.
Huh?
Yeah, it's Raising Arizona.
No. Sorry about that, guys.
You're good.
Got a little disrespect in this house. What's going on? What did I miss? Who talked about who?
I was just saying there's a documentary called Inio.
Oh shit. I didn't know that. Oh shit, just came out. Adding that to my watch list and Letterboxd, amazing. Barn Fink is one of their best. That's another classic I haven't seen. I haven't seen
that one.
I've seen some Cohen, but I haven't seen like some of the main ones.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we'll move on to our number twos. Woo-hoo. All right, Adrien, your number two here.
This is mine?
Yep.
Yeah, let me post this so that people know. Still being 150 minutes live. Come join us. All right. Well, I mean, that's it, right?
Right.
Do we need to say more?
Nope.
I feel like
the point that you made about like movies that you feel that like are undeniably great.
Yes. I think there's no debate here. I think it's of course nostalgia comes into play, obviously, because it's the first films we've ever seen. But here's the thing. I don't know if that's true, if the statement I'm going to say is true. But I feel like the sad part is that if E.T. was to come out today, it wouldn't be appreciated. Right? Mm-hmm. I feel like people would come out of it and say, okay. So he left. All right, what's the big deal? It's like,
yeah, home. So what?
And right, it's like, so what? Okay, let's go eat at Spago's. And the thing is, and that's a shame because those are films that are so uniquely honest, right? We go back to honesty because that's why those films work, right? It's again the cliches, the corniness. It can be full of it. It's full of that. Right inside the film, and yet every beat works because it's done with so much honesty. And it's one of those films that we when we talk about movie magic, this is what we're talking about. Where we can also talk about Edward Scissorhands in the same light, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's those films that are not intellectually complex or trying to say something about the world or, comment on society as a whole. No. It's just letting you in the journey, in the mind of this young boy who feels alone. Right. And how he's going to conquer that. Right. And how he's going to go above that, beyond that. It's a coming of age story in the best sense of the word, right? And it's talking about friendship, probably the best out there. So again, it's the reason why you ugly cry at the end is because it touches something in you, in your child mind, that never dies. Even though it's being oppressed all the time, it never dies. It's always inside of you somewhere. And these kind of films, and E.T. most of all, takes this out of you, brings it back to the open, right? And so you're like, what's going on? What's happening to me? And this is what's happening to you. It's so pure. It's yeah. So yeah. Nothing more to add. Probably it is Spielberg's most personal film, right? Spielberg coming from he's a child of divorce, right? And wanted to represent that. He is Elliot, and he felt alone, and he felt like he had no one to talk to, and he felt misunderstood, and all he wanted was an alien friend, right? Was an extraterrestrial coming from the sky and holding his hand through the journey that is life.
Adrien, that statement might be challenged with the release of The Fabelmans. We'll see.
Yes, well, but here's the thing: the Fablemans is a no. You're right, 100%. The Fablemans is his most personal, but because the Fablemans has not come out, Fablemans is too easy though. It's a biopic of
Yeah,
himself, obviously, but
autobiography. Yeah.
but like he's using every single part of his life literally, like if you've read the books and everything, they're all in the trailer.
Hmm.
Whereas ET is showing it in a magical way, right? It's
Hmm.
showing it with that sci-fi element, and that's what it is, and that's why it is an immortal film. It is undebatable, and it is undeniable, and it will live till the ends of times.
Well said.
Go to the comments, I
Yeah.
guess. I will show you the life of the mind. Oh, that's Barton Fink. E.T. was the main reason I want to become a filmmaker. There you go. It gave me that spark, and Spielberg is my idol. Same, Evan. But for me, it was Star Wars. But I mean, it's a combo. Spielberg is still my favorite, for sure.
For sure. All right. Here's your number 2, Joe.
All right.
Yes.
Can I just say I freaking love this poster so much?
Yes, it's amazing.
And okay, but now on to the actual movie. So this was Don Bluth's feature film debut. Don Bluth, if you don't know, he started off as this Disney animator. He even I think the first Disney film he worked on was actually Beauty and the Beast back in the 50s, and he then grew as this leading animator. In the 70s, I think he was the lead animator or the head animator or something for The Rescuers, I believe, and Robin Hood. But it was sort of during the production of Fox and the Hound that he was a part of. He sort of realized that Disney was not really the same as it once was when Walt Disney was around. And so when that happened, he got a group of animators on his birthday to leave Disney Studios and make their own animation studio. And they started off, I believe, with a 40-minute short called Banjo the Woodpile Cat. And it was sort of modest, and then this was sort of their first feature film. I think they also worked on an animated sequence in the musical Xanadu. I think those were the two first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were their first two projects that they worked on, and then they did The Secret of Nim. That was their first feature film. And in my opinion, this is also Don Bluth's best film. And I feel it's definitely more it definitely has more of a following now, and it has more attention, but it's still relatively underrated, but I personally feel it's a great film that talks about, well, it has these really intriguing themes about more of these allegories about magic and the unknown, and also about the relationship it has with science, and it's super intriguing. And plus the main character is it's amazing that we see this main character who is obviously not this huge heroic figure or something, but is only a mother trying to help her children to survive. And the fact that she keeps on going through all of these situations, and all for the safety and well-being of her children, is something that we don't really see as much with protagonists, and yeah, also the animation is really wonderful. I know that Don Bluth, what he wanted to do was he took previous animation styles that were used in sort of the golden age and of Disney. So I think rotoscoping. I think also there was a way that I'm forgetting on what it's called, but it's pretty much a way for the backgrounds, the way that they were conceived is that like there would be one layer and then it would be placed on top of the other for like the next object and then the next and or something like that. And it was used very much in like the golden age of Disney. I think they
Oh
started off.
yeah. You're talking about the
with,
parallax.
yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started off with the Disney short, The Old Windmill, and they really used it in Disney's Bambi. Yeah,
Bambi, and before that, even what's it called?
Pinocchio, I think as well.
Pinocchio
Yeah,
was the first. Oh no, actually,
or maybe
Snow White
Snow
they
White,
used it.
probably.
Snow White they
Oh.
used
On the
it.
cottage. Yeah.
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 So yeah, they sort of had to like go back on that because they were on a really tight budget as well. And you know, like the film did like similarly to their previous works, it was modestly successful, but Steven Spielberg actually saw the movie and he loved it so much that he went to Don Bluth and said, oh my gosh, this reminded me of the Disney films from the golden age, and it's so much better than the movies that they're releasing now. So I'm going to help you produce a couple of movies. And pretty much it's because of that Spielberg got involved to produce An American Tale and The Land Before Time. And those two movies like were hugely successful to the point that they were actually outbeating Disney's films. So like by the time American Tail was released, that was when The Great Mouse Detective was released. And even though Great Mouse Detective did do well, American Tail like swept it like absolutely defeated it. And Land Before Time was released the same year as Oliver and Company, and and they like did pretty well both financially, but so it was more of like the critics that really showed what was the more successful film. And pretty much what they were saying was that it was the Don Bluth movie that felt more like a Disney movie than the actual Disney movie. And so this also was like really is like a real stepping point for Don Bluth's career. And the fact that he was able to defeat Disney for a brief period in his career is what really motivated the Disney people to like really like step up their game, and to that eventually led to the Disney Renaissance, starting with Who Framed Roger Rabbit and then The Little Mermaid. And yeah, so we can thank Don Bluth for the fact that Disney was able to like pick themselves up from their bootstraps and create this new era.
Fascinating, because the same thing happened.
And Don Bluth, he always said that he wanted to change the field of animation, and that's exactly what he did.
Mm-hmm. So that's fascinating. First of all, because of the backstory of Land Before Time, I had no idea how they got involved in it. I should have known, but I didn't know. I thought they were just all that. Some, they just did that thing. But that the way it happened, that's really interesting. But second of all, that's actually a great point that you're saying that, because the 80s, the Disney in the 80s was truly doing terrible, but Disney in the 2000s was doing worse. And it's the same, but the same thing happened. The 90s, they had to, pick themselves back up to get to the Renaissance, the same way that they had to buy Pixar, so that the Pixar Brain Trust in 2006 could go into Disney to kind of rebrand them into the Pixar Brain Trust. Ed Catmull became the president of Disney and Pixar, and then Disney had its new renaissance with Bolt and Wreck-It Ralph and Frozen and and all of these movies that came out after, thanks to Pixar really picking them back up. It was like, wait, Pixar's doing all these phenomenal films. They were doing like back-to-back successes, sweeping the floors, and Disney was doing Dinosaur and Farm Ranch, or I don't know the
Home on the
Range.
And Chicken Little.
What? Yeah. No, Chicken Little. Oh yeah, Chicken Little sucked. Chicken Run was a masterpiece, but that was DreamWorks, right?
Yeah,
and
DreamWorks and Aardman.
But you're right, Chicken Little, right? And so the same thing happened to them. It's pretty fascinating. I want to look more into who was CEO at the time, because Michael Eisner was CEO during the 2000s, and that's why he was kind of fucking up. Well, that's not why. He just was fucking up. He wasn't seeing the vision that they could be accomplishing with Pixar. But Bob Iger, who came in 2006, saw the vision and decided to acquire Apple for their help, basically. And the 80s, I'd love to know who was in charge at Disney on Disney's side. But that's really cool, really interesting.
Yeah, his name is Ron Miller. He
Ron
was
Miller in the 80s. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, he's the brother-in-law, or not brother-in-law, son-in-law of Walt Disney.
Okay. Okay.
He did terrible.
I'll look into
Yeah, but what? Just another sort of like interesting sort of behind the scenes thing with this movie that it just shocks me that like they had to go through all of this. So it's based off of a book called Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of Nim. However, I think there was like some rumor or something that like the company Whammo, who made the Frisbee, if they had kept the name Frisbee, they were going to get all tangled up with the movie or something. And the last thing they wanted was like complications with anyone, because they were just, come on, let's just get this movie out, please. We don't want any more complications. And so but the thing is, by the time that they realized that, all of the cast members had already come in and like said their lines saying Frisbee instead of Brisbee. So what they did was that I think they had the sound, I think they had like a sound editor or something who pretty much took every time the actors said like breeze or something and put it over before they said, and just use the BR and put it over when they said FR in Frisbee so that it could say Brisbee. Which is insane that they freaking had to do that within months of the movie's release.
Oh man, that's a nightmare.
I know, but like freaking props and to the genius sound person who did that. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
All right, let's get to the chat. So we got Bernardo saying he needs to revisit it, and talking about E.T. Or no, this is Samuel. I wish I could get E.T., and I do love things about it, but I prefer so many other things over it. And I think it's overexposed to the detriment of equally great fantasy films.
Yeah, I didn't. It's too bad. But yeah, it's a shame because I get it. I mean, a lot of people will say, yeah, The Thing, and for me, it doesn't even come close. Because again, it's about how you're bringing human emotions to the table. Like no one does that better than E.T. So it's always like, yeah, sure. The Thing that was released in the same time, you know, everybody's like, oh, The Thing is so much better than E.T. What it talks about, the social commentary and all that. It's like, yeah, has more of a social commentary and it talks about more important things, quote unquote. And it's a great film on top of that. But E.T. manages to get out human emotions that others can't.
Yep. Well, switching gears a little bit back to Secret of Nim, isn't it such a shame that he never quite had the success after was it Anastasia?
Yeah.
Like
well, the thing is, after Land Before Time, he was sort of, Don Bluth was given more like creative freedom, but it was at that point, like the next film that he released after Land Before Time was All Dogs Go to Heaven, but just just like the Land Before Time, it was released the same weekend as a Disney movie, but this time it was The Little Mermaid. So bringing things full circle, and it was freaking nuked by The Little Mermaid. And yeah, it was freaking nuked. And the critics also hated it, even though it has gained a bit of a cult following, including myself. I actually really like the movie, but like it at the time though, it was like, it was bashed by the critics and it was an absolute flop at the box office. And pretty much Don Bluth, during almost the entirety of the 90s, him and his films were really not doing so well, to the point I think that like Don Bluth Animation Studios had to file for bankruptcy, and then eventually him and his partner, like his animation partner, I can't remember what his name is. Wait. I need to search this up because he is really important. The Secret. Wait.
I think I know it.
Hold on. I want to make sure I get this right.
Guys, there's 3 more minutes in the tournament, and there's only three vote difference.
Oh,
Gary Goldman.
I won't tell you which one is leading, but
okay.
But
it's okay. Gary Goldman as well. So Don Bluth and Gary Goldman, they moved to Fox Animation Studios where they made Anastasia, and it was actually for the first time in like almost 10 years, it was finally a hit for Don Bluth. But then he immediately released Titan AE, which was a huge flop, and then he pretty much was like, okay, I'm stepping away from this. I can't deal with this anymore. But like that doesn't necessarily mean that he stepped away from animation for the long run. Like I'm pretty sure he's a teacher for animation, and he's released many books. I think he released his autobiography recently, and he's doing very well for himself. And there's actually been some rumors saying that he is going to come back to make a Dragon's Lair movie, which is like a video game from the 80s that he like animated. It was revolutionary because it was like a video game that was animated, and there have been rumors saying that like him and Gary Goldman are going to come back to like do that, but that's like really up in the air at this point, so
awesome.
Yeah, I have very implicit knowledge on this, as you can see.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, my dad got to meet him one time. I'm so jealous of him.
Oh my gosh, your dad got to meet Don Bluth. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And my dad's part of this cartoonist society, and every month either his nephew or his son goes to that as well.
Oh my
so it's
goodness.
Like I'm super jealous of that.
Oh, I'm jealous. I'm so jealous. Like that would be so freaking amazing if I could meet Don Bluth. Like it would be like I would just absolutely freak out. I probably my brain would just be like nothing. Honestly, probably. Yeah.
All right. Got a comment here from Samuel. Secret Her Name is awesome. The atmosphere in that movie is palpable.
I agree.
Well said. All right. We'll go to my number 2. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Yeah. Another John Hughes film. Have either of you seen this film?
I haven't.
No.
But I know very much of it.
Oh, it's the best Thanksgiving movie ever. I think this is the only Thanksgiving movie ever, honestly.
By technicality, I count Fantastic Mr. Fox as a Thanksgiving movie, just by technicality. But this is I often hear Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is like the best and only Thanksgiving movie.
Yes. John Candy, Steve Martin, hilarious together. They do the straight man and like Wild Card super well, hilarious together. I really relate to Neil. Like he's Steve Martin's character. So many horrible things have happened on, travels for me. So I really relate to him. And then, I can't remember John Candy's character's name, but he has the best one-liners in the whole movie. He's a shower ring salesman. So he goes across the country selling those to people, I guess. Anyways, crazy turn of events. It's like the worst vacation ever possible, like trying to get home. Yeah, if you have any nightmares about travel, this will definitely add to them. But yeah, it's my favorite John Hughes film. I watch it every single Thanksgiving. It's a hilarious movie. It even has some heart to it. Like there's some really touching moments, but I won't get into that. Those are kind of spoilers, but yeah, it's a great movie. Yes. So she's right. I don't know if this is a guy or a girl. They're referring to a scene where Steve Martin's trying to get a car, and he just goes into this crazy tirade against the lady who's giving out rentals, and it's loaded with expletives. It's hilarious. Probably the funniest part of the whole movie. And the only reason why it's R-rated is because of that one scene.
Oh my goodness.
Hilarious. Steve Martin unhinged. It's incredible. But yeah. We'll move on to number 1s. Adrien.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't come as a surprise. It started with Return of the Jedi, and it ended with Empire Strikes Back. That's my top 10.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
That's right. Poetry.
Yes. Well, the
I think
George
that's
Lucas
it. I
quote.
think
I'm sorry.
that's all that.
I
needs
know
to
I'm going for the low hanging fruit, but I couldn't resist.
be. No. This is perfect. This is perfect, and I don't have anything else to say.
Oh,
It's everybody has talked about this enough times. Obviously, a jewel of the Star Wars saga, but like we have to remember that this was made at a time where sequels were not popular, right? Where The Godfather 2 had just come out before that. So that was a popular sequel. But it wasn't the norm, even though sequels have existed since the beginning of time. We could even think Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein is a perfect sequel, and Bride was very successful, but again, it wasn't in the zeitgeist of pop culture. And so for a sequel to have been done so well was only seen a few times, and done so well and done so differently, especially so differently, because even though Godfather 2 is different than Godfather 1, the mood is still very similar. Even though we are going into a nightmare at the end with Vito, and his character, is going down the abyss, whereas in the first one it was rising, right? In Empire Strikes Back, it's so dark, right? And it's just like, I mean, scrap what I said. Godfather 2 is super dark as well, especially the ending of that film.
Oh, yeah.
So it actually is super dark. It's actually very similar. It's just that Godfather 2 did it before, and then Empire really brought that to fantasy. Like, you could do this to fantasy, to sci-fi. That was never done before, or rarely done before, and or done not as well. And so yeah, it's I mean, it's perfect. I mean, it's hard to say anything that wouldn't be cliche, or that wouldn't be what everybody has already said. I can think that George Lucas had the right idea to step back from the director's chair and ask his good friend Irvin to do it, which he did the same for Return of the Jedi with Richard Marquand, right? I mean, so many incredible improv lines that weren't in the script, and that should have never been in the movie. But when Leia says "I love you" and Han says "I know," that was improv. I don't know if you guys knew that. That was
yeah.
improv on the day. Yeah, the "I killed my." I mean, yeah, it's Star Wars. It's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. So not much else. I'm trying to think of, like, it's such perfect craft, that it's hard to oh yeah, no, one thing actually. Did you guys know that the Hoth battle at the beginning, with the spaceship, with the rebels versus the Empire on the snow, right? With the AT-ATs, all of that is stop motion. All of it is literally ILM going, motion by motion on every single AT-AT and every single ships coming in, stop motion. Months of work
Yeah.
for
Insane.
for 2 minutes.
Like,
Barely.
the craft of stop motion is not appreciated as much as the mainstream. Like, especially like, man, because like, it's like, these people are putting in like months and months of effort, like maybe even years of effort, to like animate this, when, why can't you just use it with, but it's like the reason that they don't do it with just computers or something is because they have a genuine passion behind the craft of it. That's so freaking
also it couldn't be done at that time, right?
yeah. But I'm like
didn't have,
talking about like stop motion, like in general, especially
in general,
feature
yeah,
length, but
sure.
like, yeah, that too
No.
as well. They couldn't do it with.
It's and I recommend the ILM documentary to everyone that's on Apple. No, it's not on Apple. It's on Disney Plus.
Yes.
I recommend it to everyone because it's you really get a true sense of what it took to make Star Wars happen from the people that made it happen. So, and by that I mean ILM and the visual effects department. So, yeah.
Well,
By the way, we're done. The tournament is done. I guess I'll announce the winner.
Yes.
Wait, should we announce it now, or should we wait for you guys go do your pass and then I announce it? I don't know. What do you guys think?
we can wait a little bit, build up some anticipation.
Build up a little bit of suspense, yeah.
Yeah.
And I have the fuck yeah, go.
Okay.
Mute yourself before you spoil it. No, I'm kidding.
No, yeah.
All right, got a couple comments here. Samuel, all dogs go to heaven is intense.
Right, like that scene where like Charlie has like that nightmare where he's like literally in hell. My God.
Yeah. And then I thought, no, he's still alive and well.
Yeah, he's like in. Wait, let me actually check what his age is. He might be in his 90s now. Like,
yeah, he's up there. And I want to say too,
85. He's 85 years old.
Oh, okay, 85. Okay,
still like. Ooh.
All right, you ready for your number one, Joe?
Yes.
All right.
My number one is Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. So,
that's an incredible poster.
I know. Yeah. Like just my top two. I freaking love the posters for the top two. Can we just? Oh my gosh. Yeah. So this was like. It's debatable as to, like, some people argue as to whether this is, like, actually a Studio Ghibli film or not, because it was conceived of and released before the studio's conception. So Miyazaki, he had previously made Lupin III, The Castle of Cagliostro, which was in 1978 or 79, I believe. And what he really wanted to do was that he had this idea for like a movie with this sort of post-apocalyptic setting, and he like originally approached like executives or something like, hey, I have this really cool idea for a movie, can you give me the money to make it? And they were like, okay, we love this idea, but we just don't think that it's gonna do very well because it isn't based off of something that already exists. So just come with like bring us something that's based off of something that already exists, and then we'll consider your offer. So what he did was like, dang it, okay, time to make an entire manga out of this idea of mine. So he made a whole manga about it, and it was so successful that when he approached them again, they were like, okay, now you can make it, because it was, I'm pretty sure it's like one of the most successful mangas, and some people argue it's one of the best manga series. And like I really want to read the manga sometime, because obviously I love this movie if it's number one here. And I'm pretty sure it's based off of like it's based off of like just a little segment from the manga, and there's this whole huge story which really has me intrigued, because the world building and characters of this film are so fascinating. Like if I were to choose any of Miyazaki's films that I would legitimately want to see like a sequel to, this would probably be the one, because I love the world building in this movie. I love as well just the dynamics of the characters, and I want to like see more of that, and it's so cool. And this is just indicating that I really need to read the manga if I really want to know more about this. Additionally, like it's sort of, so like I mentioned like earlier, it's set in this sort of post-apocalyptic world where there was this event called I think the 1,000 Days of Fire or something, where there were these like sort of gods or something that pretty much just left the world in crumbles, and now there's this thing called the toxic jungle, which features all of these creatures, like these giant things called ohms, which is in the background there with like, it sort of looks like a giant roly-poly and with a bunch of blue eyes, and these other sort of creatures, and pretty much all of the sort of communities of like this land are pretty much like, yeah, toxic forest is not good, we just need to destroy it and like just get rid of it. But there's one princess from the Valley of the Wind, Nausicaa, who seeks to bring harmony between it because she's not quite convinced that the jungle and the inhabitants of it are inherently toxic and evil and just like bad in nature. And then when other sort of kingdoms in the land sort of get involved with the Valley of the Wind, she sort of finds herself sort of discovering more about the forest or the jungle, and that's sort of what I'll sort of leave at there. But you could definitely tell from Miyazaki's early career, he loved grand spectacle and he loved discussing the environment, definitely, and sort of like humankind's relationship to it. And you find that like this movie is really relevant even today, like the fact that like these colonies have to cope with like the toxicity of the like literal toxicity of the world around them, and sort of this fear around this pandemic of toxins, it definitely feels very relevant today in regards to that. But it's also like the answer that Miyazaki kind of gives to it as well, because I also don't want to give away too much, but also sort of the indefatigable nature of Nausicaa as a lead, and sort of like the fearlessness as well of her, and sort of like her seeking this harmony because it's like oh dang it, my brain is like scattering like different points, but her sort of being in defiance of the ideals of everybody else, I guess. So yeah, it's, and additionally, like the movie was really successful. I believe like if you transfer like in regards to like the money that it made back then into like American dollars, I think it had a budget of I think like it made back double or triple its budget. I could be wrong on that. And it was really able to like have it was able to allow the people involved with the movie, so like Miyazaki, but also his friends Isao Takahata and Toshio Suzuki, to create Studio Ghibli. And yeah, so it's really important in regards to the career of Ghibli and sort of Miyazaki's career as well, that like some people are like, yeah, it's basically a Ghibli film, it has the same kind of vibe as it, but like it's like, but like the thing is,
but Ghibli wasn't there yet, is what you're saying?
Yeah, this was released in 1984, and I believe Ghibli, like, I think Ghibli's technical first film as a studio was Castle in the Sky, which I believe was 86. So
yeah, not long after.
Yeah, not long after. And often like in re-releases and in like media releases of Nausicaa, they say that it's a Ghibli film, so like it's marketed as a Ghibli film, so I mean, I guess it's kind of a Ghibli film, kind of, but not really. I mean, I feel it also has a little bit of a darker tone, slightly, not too much, but like it has like more of like a serious tone. Like I remember I thought this movie like as a kid was freaking boring as a like but like when I watched it like many years later, I was like, oh my gosh, this movie is freaking incredible. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It looks really cool. I love this poster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And also, yeah, also just the artwork I freaking adore so much. A lot of people draw comparisons between this and Princess Mononoke, and that's a pretty good comparison. Like, it's this main character who needs to settle some sort of disagreement with humanity and nature. So, you know, yeah, that's very much, it gives off very Princess Mononoke vibes, but it's like they're very different movies, definitely.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I added it to my watch list. So
Yeah.
Let's get to some comments here. So we got Sam Charlie. Yeah, talking about All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Mm.
And yep, Empire Strikes Back is the best. We got Samuel saying Nausicaa is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Adrien, I can't take the suspense anymore. Who won the tournament?
I'm about to. Yeah, I'll announce it when Harrison is.
I'll be brief.
So it's all up to him. Whenever he's done.
Yep. So we'll move on to mine. I'll be brief because it's Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah,
the greatest movie of all time. Done.
Pretty much, it was my favorite movie of all time for a long time.
Adrien just leaves the live stream because he's convinced that Raiders will.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about it anymore.
Right. What more can be said, right? Love the collaboration with George Lucas, Steven Spielberg. I think it's an amazing collaboration. Too bad that their later one, Kingdom Crystal Skull, didn't work out so good. But this one, Temple of Doom, Last Crusade, this one has always been my favorite. Last year for the 40th anniversary, they had it in theaters, and I got to see it. You guys need to see it in the theater. It's incredible.
Have you seen it in black and white, Harrison?
No, but I would love to. That would be amazing.
Is there like a version of it that's in black and white?
Yeah, and what it does is it shows the cinematic depth of Steven Spielberg and what he brought to every shot and why it's a piece of art. So
that's awesome. No, I need to check that out. Other than that, though, I love Indiana Jones, the character. I've been him several times for Halloween as a kid. And my favorite ride at Disneyland, Indiana Jones ride. I love that character. Love that it's in the 30s too, and it's kind of an homage to those old movies from back then, like Secret of the Incas and Treasure of Sierra Madre. All those old movies like that. I love that.
Probably the best character introduction in a movie as well.
Absolutely. I love that with the whip. And that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's all I got to say. So
yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Wow, that's all you have to say? No, but to be fair, I just sent a last story because I know a lot of people couldn't, make it by us. I'll talk a little more about Raiders, right? A minute or two. And then we'll get to it. But about Raiders, it's a great movie. It's really good. No. Seriously, it's really good. Yep. So it's a really good movie. And that's the thing. That's the thing with good movies. There are good movies who are good. And then there's good movies, who are really good, but not good enough, but they're great without the goodness. So he creates this fallacy of good, but that transpires to the great in the good. That made a lot of sense, obviously. I was obsessed with Temple of Doom when I was a kid, 9, 10. Every time I went to my great aunt's house, I have to watch it. Drove them crazy. Yeah, I was never a huge fan of Temple of Doom. Well, no, that's not true. I was a huge fan of Temple of Doom. It's recently that it's been that I kind of had I don't know, didn't think that it was worthy. Are you guys a big fans of Temple?
No, and I don't know where all this love is coming from.
Where what?
Where all this love and support for it. It never had that till last 2 years.
Really? I've been seeing a lot of hate.
I blame Chris Stuckman.
Oh,
gotcha. Also,
I mean,
there's a
props to him.
documentary.
Like the thing is, in my opinion, the movie is like mostly like but the ending, like the climax, is really really good. Like yeah.
And the whole heart thing is, I mean, he literally brought PG-13 to the
Yeah.
MPAA ratings with this film.
Mhm.
PG-13 did not exist. Okay, fine. Let's go to the tournament. Whatever. Um, Raiders of the Lost Ark won, actually, believe it or not. It wasn't in the tournament.
What?
It wasn't. I know, that's such a plot twist.
Oh my
This
God.
is the true subversion of expectations.
Forget
Is
Empire Strikes Back. This is the greatest plot subversion.
That's right. That's the greatest plot
existed.
twist ever. Raiders of the Lost Ark won the tournament.
Your
Okay,
movie
so
tournament over Joan of Arc and M.
that's
Yes.
right. So Joan of Arc and M. Holy shit. Let's see. Let's figure it out. Let me look.
The suspense is killing me. I hope it'll last.
Yeah, because like 9 people, no, not 9 people, actually. More than 12 people voted in the last 2 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
So like, you know, like it went really fast. And my internet connection is down.
No.
Oh,
No, it's not. It's not false alert. False
Suspense.
alert. False alert. Wait 1 second. Samuel Stevens asked a question. He said, "Any 80s films considered great, you consider overrated?" Oh, any
Well,
in
I'm
the
actually
80s?
gonna like be honest. Like, you're not gonna like this, Adrien. You're really not gonna like
You know,
this.
I've heard it all.
But from the one time that I have seen E.T., I have to admit I don't quite get it.
Oh, just like our friend.
Yes.
Just like our friend Samuel, right? Said it.
Yeah.
Like
And
we should,
honestly,
what do you mean?
Samuel, drop me your letterbox. We need to.
What's not to get? That's what I'm not understanding. Is it the
I don't know. Like, I think it's like well made, but like I don't know if like I don't know. It doesn't quite click for me in the way that
yeah. So you're right.
other people.
You don't connect to it the same way that we do, which is fine. I mean, that's the thing. Like most people, did you see it when you were a kid or no?
I did, and it freaking traumatized me.
Wow. Okay. I know someone. I know someone that did the same. I was like, wait, you don't think he's cute? No, I think he's horrifying.
pretty creepy.
And I mean, look, I see where you're coming from, where some people are coming from. You know, you just don't understand it, but you know, I see it. No, but it's again like there's this.
I mean, maybe I need to watch it again, but right now I'm just sort of like in the
understood.
Cool.
Understood. I understood, and I feel like I've had people that went and told me that, you know, I didn't know how to answer, but they told me, and I was like, okay, what's for dinner? But no, but I you know, connect, you know, sometimes you connect, sometimes you don't. It is what it is. I mean,
now it's time for me to tick off Harrison.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I also kind of think that the Indiana Jones trilogy is kind of overrated. Okay. It's just like I don't hate the movies. Raiders of the Lost Ark is the best one, and it's like I still like it. I still think it's a great movie. I'd like give it like 8 out of 10, but like I just don't think it's like as amazing as like.
And that's fair. I think, you know, like again, those are films that. Those are films that we grew up with, right? So those are films that obviously will have nostalgia factor put into them, and also the craft is to be.
Yes, I won't deny the craft of the Indiana Jones trilogy, especially Raiders of the Lost Ark. I will not deny the craft.
No, and I agree. Like, you know, here's the thing. Like, I know we're joking around and everything when we say. Well, I'm not joking around, but most people are joking around when they say that, you know, they're unquestionably great. Sure, people could question it. I don't know if I want to be a part of that conversation, but sure, people could technically question it. But it's more, it's something that you can't really. It's not like, oh, I thought Space Odyssey was boring, you know, or oh, I thought that, you know, I didn't like the way they did this and that in Tarkovsky's Solaris. that's a debate. That's a conversation. That's something that we're gonna, go in depth about. E.T. Raiders, it's more about connecting to it on a personal level, right? It's not really the craft that we're debating. It's not really it's not really what it talks about. It's more like, because I didn't hear anyone say, well, I just don't like themes of love and friendship and coming of age. That doesn't exist, right? It's about the personal connection that we have to these films. Um, uh, and if we can't connect, then that's just how it is. I agree 100% with Joey Lumbreras. Terminator is 100% overrated. That for me is my 80s overrated film. There you go. That's the one I'm not I don't care for it. I don't see. That's another one. See, like I watched the Terminator, I don't care. I watched Terminator 2, I care even less.
Wow.
So
that's surprising about T2.
I know T2 is a big one for. Now, granted, I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but still, I didn't care about it when I was a kid. Let's fucking go, Joey. All right. It's time to talk about the winners.
Yes. The suspense is killing me.
So let's see. All right. So, but Joey said that he actually he keeps segueing.
Oh my gosh! Stop it!
All right, so it happened. Joan of Arc.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
Let's go!
Let's do it.
The tournament, and
that's amazing.
The score was 342 to 333. So we're talking 9 votes of difference between the two. That's how close it was. And people started chiming in the last minute. But this is incredible because out of every single, like, Passion was the underdog. Like, sure, it's a famous film, like it's a classic, people have seen it, sure, but it's a foreign film and it's an underdog based on the journey it had to go through. And the thing is, like, M's a great film. M is not a great film. It's one of the greatest films of all time. But the let's look at, if we go to who they went against, right? Let's look at that, because like M went against Haxan in the first round of 32, right? And that was an easy win for M, obviously, right? Barely anyone had seen Haxan. Then it was M in the general. Now Harrison obviously, would disagree, but sure, like I could see that, it made sense for M to go through. Then M in City Lights was a tough one, and yet it destroyed it pretty much. And then M in Wizard of Oz is where I thought that Wizard of Oz might win, and it pulled through right until the finals. Now look at Joan of Arc. It had Stagecoach, which is an American classic that everyone loves, that's beloved. It's John Ford. It's, all of that. It's I thought it was going to be not just eliminated, destroyed by Stagecoach. It pulled through. It was close, but it pulled through. Then Passion of Joan of Arc versus Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, another huge beloved classic that Frank Capra. I mean, there was no way that Passion of Joan of Arc, the foreign film from like 1920, the silent film, won against the speaking classic. But it did. And then All Quiet on the Western Front. Now, I believe Passion of Joan of Arc had a good chance there, and it did, right? Passion of Joan of Arc Metropolis was a tough one, right?
Yeah,
Metropolis,
I remember that.
We're talking about like one of the most beloved films of all time by so many people, right? I'm surprised that, I'm so surprised. Samuel Stevens said, no, this is a huge leap for Joan since it's Criterion re-release. 100%. This changes the game. And then it's Passion versus M, and it pulled through. It's unbelievable. And I had prepared my post for today. Wait, am I doing it today? Or am I doing it tomorrow? I don't know. Should I do it? No, I'll do it tomorrow because it's a little late. But the post for tomorrow was going to be about was basically talking about how an American following, mostly an American following, gave the crown to a foreign film that was almost forgotten. So it's incredible. And props to M. I mean, Samuel says Joan beat major heavy hitters for sure. And that's the thing. Like, it had an incredible run, and it beat everyone against all odds, and is now number one. And Fritz Lang has 2 of his films on the podium. It's amazing. M and Metropolis both on the podium. Anyways, it's great. I'm happy. I'm very happy with the results. It's very nice. I think we're all happy. All very happy.
Yeah. Not expecting that at all.
Yeah.
That was great.
Pretty fucking cool. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna, because it's 7. I don't know if I like put it up right now, or if I just put maybe I just put the winner. No. I don't know. What should I do? Should I post now or should I post tomorrow? 7-Eleven. Samuel, what do I do?
Tomorrow.
Should I post now or tomorrow?
Well, do you want to keep the anticipation? That's the question.
But the thing is, I don't know if that would just die down, because it's kind of like, okay, like most people don't know who the winner is, right? So should I just, because as soon as I post, like, the who did I vote for band that I put every time there's a tournament, and I finally reveal who I voted for, it's actually really interesting to see who people think I voted for. Seeing like if they know my taste, if they kind of know like who I would vote for in those circumstances. So that's pretty cool. I remember, Harrison, when you got me, when you were like, at some point it was a Metropolis versus Dr. Mabuse.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And I obviously voted Metropolis. But for some reason I fucked up on the poll when I said who did I vote for. I put the sticker, the little green sticker that says correct on Mabuse. And Harrison immediately sends me a message after he obviously fucks up. He presses Metropolis, and so wrong answer. He's like, there's something wrong with that.
Well, I was genuinely surprised. Not many people have that opinion.
Right. So he was like, wait, what? And that's true. See, that's a great point. That's a great one. In honor of the Queen, wait until after the funeral, because obviously Joan of Arc is British, right? Amazing. Yes, Samuel, we're doing the best 40s film tournament next. So this is what's going to happen with the channel. From now on, we're done with the tournament. I might go live tomorrow, Sunday. If you guys are welcome to join, 100%. Ask questions, or whatever. Just celebrate. Do it now. Well, no, I can't do it now because I have to wait for the Queen's funeral to be over. There's a long line.
We're Americans. We don't care.
And I'm French, so it's even worse.
Oh yeah, that's true.
No, but it's worse.
It's even worse. Like, yeah.
Us and the British, we have beef. But pour live est insupportable et dure beaucoup trop longtemps. On veut savoir. Il est 4h11 ici. Yeah, so it's a guy. I don't know if he's watching the thing. He's an idiot. He just sent me. It's 4:11 here in Europe, right? Your live is lasting way too long. We need to know. But it's like I'm telling it right now. So I'm on live. So anyway, so I was saying the channel is going to work like this. I'm going to come in with a director from the 40s, right? Usually in the 40s or around that time, of a list that I've gone in. I'm going to put the 9 films or the 6 films or whatever films all in a row, slide by slide, of my favorite films of theirs. I'm going to put maybe like a little quote. I'll put probably anecdotes about behind the scenes, very short stuff. And then you guys will vote which of these movies is your favorite in the comments, and based on the most votes, right, I will make a full post on them, on that film in particular. And I will keep doing that. When we're done with the 40s, we'll do a tournament. And we'll do that every decade. Right?
That sounds great.
Yeah, I think it's cool. And it involves everyone and everybody, you know, instead of me doing every single film, like, first of all, I don't have time anymore. Can't do it with all the other projects. Bottle of wine in honor of Joan, for sure. Drink for both of us. Recently sober, you know. But yeah, so yeah, no, that's that. So I'm excited to do more tournaments. I can't wait for the 40s tournament. Fuck, that's gonna be amazing. I mean, with how well this one went, fuck. And what I like also, it's like, it's very tight knit. Very few people have seen all these films, right? Like, you look at other like film accounts. Most film accounts are like, they talk about popular stuff. Sometimes they'll talk about old stuff, and there'll be a bit of a mix of everything, right? Which is cool, and it attracts more people. We are smaller, right? I only have like 5,000 followers, 5,800, right? Like, some people have, like, most of the film accounts that I follow have over 10,000, 15,000. But we go chronologically, step by step, right? What I like about this is that it's true cinephiles. It's the real deal, and it shows.
Right.
I mean, it shows on the results. It's true quality of fans and followers, and I hope we keep that as we go. So that's really cool. All right, I mean, I'm done with that spiel. I mean,
this live stream has almost been the length of the definitive version of Once Upon a Time in America.
That's correct. That's right. It's almost there. Well, we're like an hour more, and we're there. Nathan would have left a long time. That's the thing with Nathan, we can't power for this long. I'm waiting for him to answer. I wonder if he's in the fucking live or not, my friend. But yeah, you have a big audience in Europe, Harrison. People have been, you know, the Hugo guy. He's from Paris. He was up. He was up doing this live.
Well,
he
left.
He left to come to your live.
That's incredible.
You're a big star in France.
I'll take it.
big celebrity. So that's it. I think we're very happy. So should I? So I still don't have an answer if I should post it tonight. I'll post it tonight. Fuck it.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Well, I actually do have to get going.
Coming to the live, he says, "I'm in bed. I just want to know if Jono." It's 4:11 a.m. over there.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
But
well,
we should probably wrap this up. I got to get going.
Let's wrap it up.
Yes.
Yeah, but 80s, man, what a great decade.
Great decade.
One of the best.
Okay, I'll post it right now, Amlock. Send me the stuff, thing. This is great content.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, before we head on out, why don't you guys kind of promote your channels and, you know, next things you got coming up?
I already did mine, so go ahead.
So I guess Adrien did. So
yeah. So you can find me on YouTube and Letterboxd at the Awkward Actor, and you can find me on Instagram at A Chaotic Mortal. Very chill, honestly. Like, I don't really post a lot, but I hope to. So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, guys, for coming on. And when we end this, we'll talk a little bit when we'll do the next one, the 1990s. And next month, I only do these once a month. I don't have the time for every week.
Yeah.
But on that note, this has been Really Old Movies. I've been your host, Harrison Scullin. This has been Joe and Adrien. Take care, everyone.
Peace out. 69mega.com. Find love in your own today. You know, this is the last post then. Yeah, of course.
There we go.
Hey.
There we go. All right. See you, everyone.
All right. I'm posting it.